All right. Are we starting now?
Yeah, we're live, baby.
All right, we're live. Okay, so today's episode, I'm fucking extremely stoked. We have Taylor Cavanaugh on today.
What's up, everybody?
This is one of the most wild fucking stories. Like, I came into we're podcasting in Nick's house right now, and I came up, and I can already hear dudes telling stories and laughing from upstairs.
No cameras rolling.
We've told like 20 stories already. We're not even started yet. So, so yeah, if people don't know you already, most people I think in our circle already know you, our orbit, but Navy SEAL, one of the only, I think probably the only frogman that went French Foreign Legion.
Yeah, at least verified.
Yeah, and then a whole bunch of different shenanigan stories, and now you're doing really powerful, useful stuff, helping people in a lot of ways. And family man now. It's just a really cool fucking character arc, dude. So I'm excited to get into this
Character arc, I like that.
Yeah,
man.
dude, main character, dude.
Main character arc.
That's one of the. Oh, we just got the shirts in today too, so these will be up on the website by the time they're seeing this.
Yeah.
Picture.
Well, we need to get an official. We need to put a gold star on somebody. Needs to come forward and go. I've been to, 35 of the 40.
Oh, that's good.
Well, the record right now is 22. And
damn.
I think I can
that's
beat
me.
22.
Yeah.
Because it's my list.
But there's 40. You said there's 44.
There's 44 on there. Yeah,
That's pretty good.
I have to check it out.
50%.
I was looking at them going like, I've been there.
Some of them should be worth more than others because I feel like Pacers is kind of gimme,
It's gimme for us here.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
But some of them you can't get to anymore.
Hot
Yeah.
tuna. Silver Dollar in Island. That place is burned down.
Yeah, I can't get to
I
that.
think.
Or the bitter end in Djibouti is probably a hard one to get to.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bitter
The
end.
bitter
dude.
end
Yeah.
of Djibouti.
Bro, I saw something recently when you said you were talking about that base in Djibouti got handed over by the French Foreign Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know anything about that?
Oh,
You
bro,
heard- No,
I mean
fuck
that is Djibouti was a mainstay from the 13 DBLA, the Demi Brigade that was actually posted there for. They still do training out there with
No
the
shit.
climbing down the things and getting their.
Oh yeah, we went out to one of their little bases out there. It was pretty like ratchet.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Ratchet, bro.
That's why they say you're taking it in Djibouti.
Yeah, you're taking it in
Dude,
Djibouti.
that was the official quote on our plaque, was taking it in Djibouti.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, those guys had a pretty hard one. The guys who were actually based out there, but then they would do like a kind of like a land warfare training deployment type thing out there. Still, they do a rotation.
Yeah, I remember they did. They had us doing some water drops out there, and they're circling. They're like, "These fucking sharks, are those whale sharks or regular sharks? Those sharks are so fucking big."
Yeah.
We're like, well, they didn't call it. We had to jump anyway.
Yeah.
We had to do a hydro recon.
You're seeing
out
the
there.
shadows, dude.
Yeah,
That's
in the Horn of
sketch.
Africa. We're doing
Yo,
a hydro recon.
That's how
Like,
the shit
fuck
was
you,
in
motherfucker.
Somalia, dude.
That's
like,
wild.
They're
Yeah.
like, don't get in the water. We're like, what do you mean? They're
Well,
like,
these motherfuckers had us, they had us doing hydro recon for like 800 yards out there. I'm like, I got an idea. Why don't we get in the fucking boat and drop a lead line?
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it'll
No.
be fine. No, we got to do it the whole way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was so
Well,
pissed
dude, I've
about
seen
that
those
shit.
two recent
Marking!
shark attacks, and one was in Dubai, and like the guy's literally getting like tossed out of the water
Yeah.
and like back down and like back up. Like it was a gnarly shark attack I've ever seen.
It's no
In
joke,
Dubai?
In Dubai.
Don't they have like fake lakes and shit?
That's
I didn't
what
know they
I
had
thought.
ocean,
I'm like,
man.
they also put fucking biometric sharks in there too,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah,
Dude.
yeah.
This is why people
They
ask,
just put
like,
Lambo engines in them.
like you're
Yeah. They got enough.
so people always ask, you're a team guy. You must love getting the water. I'm like, it's the opposite.
No, you're like,
Yeah.
you're like, I gave away my wetsuits and masks.
Yeah, I don't even
No
take baths
shit.
anymore, bro. I don't want to get in the fucking water. But anyway, we got a lot of stuff to get into. Normally, we start. We're trying to tell stories that because you've been on a lot of podcasts,
Mhm.
and I'm excited for your next one too with Jimmy. That's gonna be
Yeah,
fucking
that'd
dope.
be cool.
But we try to tell stories we haven't heard before, and I think we always try to start with like something from like your childhood or like how you grew up to
Yeah.
kind of set the context for what we're building on with the rest of the legacy.
Yeah, man. I mean, I grew up here. So I grew up in San Diego. So I got kind of like an interesting angle, like Kearney Mesa area. Dude, because what brought us here, my dad was a Marine. So I grew up on like in Orange, you're from Orange County, Tustin area. There was like an old Chinook base.
Yep.
And then we lived out there, and it's like condos now, I think. But, dude, I remember, they'd be we'd be riding our bike, and the fucking coyotes would be chasing you, nipping at your heels. The drought was so bad, and they were trapped. And so they were like ravenous, dude. Like my dad would be on his 10-speed, bro. Like, oh, they almost got me today, dude. It was like, so I remember that, but that's what brought us out here, and then we stayed.
was good training for buds, I guess. huh?
Bro, it was something. But my mom actually, she was the one that invented Semper Fit for the fucking fat Marines.
No shit.
No
Yeah,
shit.
because she was an aerobics instructor, very well known, and she was like just doing. And one of the guys there was like, "Hey, we need to get these fat Marines like embarrassed about like getting fit," and so she
Shame
was having
works,
them do
man.
like aerobics and shit, dude.
Semper
Yeah,
Fat.
so that was what I grew up with and around that culture. So I liked the Marine culture, but my dad got done with it, and he had his transitional moments. My mom was a part manager. My dad was part managing a fucking Dirty Dan strip club, dude.
Pure platinum.
Pure
we were talking
platinum.
about that shit last night.
Bro, in the early
Or
90s,
yesterday.
bro. So I grew up like pushing myself through the beads, and I'm like, damn, this is the shit. And that's where the love of that started, I
Dude,
think,
is
bro.
that the one by the airport or the one in Kearney Mesa?
The one at Kearney Mesa.
Yeah.
And
I
so-
mean, I've never been there. But
Yeah, I mean, I heard.
I've
I
seen
heard.
it. I've seen the signs. From
Yeah, I
the
heard, dude. And
805.
so, it's just interesting stories. But my dad was, skiing a lot, but a lot of cocaine, a lot of women, and all that stuff doesn't really like mesh well. My mom's like, we got to kind of move out into something different. And so, but that was
Wives
what
don't like that?
No.
Hmm.
She liked the money at the time, but not the rest of the stuff, I think. And but so it was but I raised with sports, man, a lot. And that was my dad was in Mr. East Coast and played pro football.
I was going to ask,
at
was
a
he a
high level.
bodybuilder?
Yeah. And so was around that a lot about, hey man, you just are active. You play sports, you lift weights, and that was just kind of the MO. So I felt good about how I grew up. We always were outside and at the beach and shit like that, and I always felt supported. But I always knew I wanted to be a SEAL, dude, since I was like 7, probably. Like I saw them training in the Bay, and was like, oh shit, you can actually like do that shit like as a job. But I shelved it. Girls, sports, all that shit. Got in trouble a little bit. Lost some scholarships. Fucked college a bunch and got arrested
Where'd you
a
go to
lot.
school?
I graduated from University of California, Santa Cruz,
Oh, right on.
but I got kicked out in about 5 schools in between that, JC and just a lot of just not. I was very immature, super immature.
Was it like a theme? Was it like girls or fighting or like
yeah,
academics or-
girls fighting.
All the above.
Yeah, all the above. Not fighting so much, but I just was stealing ecstasy at the time, dude, and fucking, I'd be down in Mexico, coming back over the border with 1,000 pills under my fucking, it was crazy,
You gotta
man.
wait till after your team got to do that.
Yeah, dude. I was like, yeah, dude. It was hectic, man. But I had a moment of clarity and kind of shifted. I felt like the walls were closing in, and I was right, dude. I ended up leaving, and a bunch of people got arrested and shit. And I was in Boston for a couple of years, organized some shit, got my credits right, and came back
Cool.
to California.
How
Finished
old
up
were
and-
you at that time?
So I was like 19 when I went to Boston.
No shit. So you did all this like you lived a lot
Dude,
of
we
life
were
early.
we were down in Mexico. I was down in Mexico shooting steroids, going to strip clubs, coming back to football practice at 15.
God damn.
Bro, consistently all the way through high school, 15 to 18. We'd be drunk, smashing steroids, coming back for like night practice when I was 16 years old, dude. 15. I
awesome.
wasn't even I couldn't even
Dude.
drive. I would sit in the back and the older guys would drive. All those guys are dead or in prison now,
No
dude.
shit.
Oh yeah. Everyone I
Wow.
fucking knew except one guy is dead or in prison. And he had and
Was
he's
this
still
like
in
the
it.
90s? 2000s?
2099, right? 99 to 2003.
Wow.
That period. So
Damn.
yeah, so it was it felt normal, but it's because Poway's kind of an interesting vibe. It's kind of affluent, but it's got kind of like an edge. So
Yeah.
you got kids with money, but a little bit of edge. It's
Yeah.
kind of an weird blend. They all got big trucks and so
Mhm.
they got mobility and a little bit of cash. But I didn't. I was, my mom was a single mom, and she was a teacher. So I was always like, I got to deal drugs to have some money or something, dude. I was doing that all through high school. I was dealing weed all through high school, but always had a job if I didn't have. So I wasn't giving any money, dude. Like they weren't giving
Was
me
your
shit.
dad still around at this point? Was he?
No, he was kind of gone. He was in and out of my life. He's
Mhm.
still dealing with his demons, man. Still, he's kind of in and out there. Kind of. I didn't really pay attention to it because he wasn't really, around that much at that time.
Yeah.
But getting out of college, I went to jail, cleaned up, got off probation, and then started my process. Marines said no, tattoos. Army said no, criminal background. And I was like, fuck. That's when I started looking at the Foreign Legion again. I was like, okay, if I can't get in the military, then I'm going to have to I want to do something. And then the Navy said yes.
What was the draw to the French Foreign Legion at the time?
It was the only place that I thought would take me. Well, I couldn't get
What's
in the
left?
Yeah, I couldn't get in the
It's
United States
Navy and
military,
the
bro.
French Foreign
What?
Legion.
And the Navy, they were fucking cool with all that
It was
shit?
they said the fucking petty officer I talked to, he looks at I just said, fuck it, I'm just gonna write down the dispositions of cases and stuff. Not everything. Because I said it would have looked like some fucking ancient scroll from like the Lord of the Rings. If I wrote all this shit, they're like,
Fucking Dead Sea Scrolls.
dude. But the guy looked at it and he goes, yeah, we can work with this. I mean, it didn't look terrible, and I didn't have felonies, right? And so I had a lot of misdemeanors. It's just a lot of them. But everything was cleared up, and he said, we can work with this. He goes, and verbatim, he goes, but you're really limited on your jobs. He goes, you can like wrangle shit or be a Navy SEAL.
Be a
That's what
fucking
he said. That's verbatim.
Yeah.
He goes, if you could pass everything, he goes, but you can't be a corpsman. You can't do any of that because you had drug charges, and there's a lot of stuff you can't do. You won't qualify.
You could be a
for.
hull tech, be a shit chaser.
I think it would be a TW, a turd wrangler, dude. Fucking. But that was all. But he said, if you could pass everything, you're going to need a lot of waivers. And so I said, all right, who do I need to talk to? And that was really helpful because there was at the time, a Naval Special Warfare SEAL Challenge program.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
remember they had that.
Mhm.
Old retired Lieutenant Commander Fuller. And he ran like Vegas, LA, and San Diego, a diamond. And he would just put on fucking workouts and stuff. And I was like, I'll show up in the Naval Amphibious Base and stuff. And I was puking. Dude, I couldn't run a mile. Dude, when I was like, all right, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL. I go out of my mom's house where I'm living, dude. I'm like, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL. Let's do this. Okay. And I run around the block, and I fucking didn't make it around the block. I was like, whoo! I was like, ha! And I look at my watch. It's like 45 seconds or whatever the fuck I did. And I went, holy shit, this is going to be a long road. But I just started it from that point and puking every day, training with an active duty SEAL up in who was in that same program, a senior chief up in Pendleton. And some days I was the only motherfucker who would show up. Straight up me, just getting
it's
pounded.
funny because we've been pretty open about talking about juice for a while now.
Yeah.
I know you have too, but
yeah,
I always get these dudes
What do you mean,
asking
Jews?
about it.
yeah.
yeah. They're always asking about, oh, do I need to do it for buds? I think it's a detriment to buds. 'Cause
Oh,
you
dude.
don't need to be.
Well, this is one thing I'm open about it. No selection I've ever gone through was I on any gear.
Mhm.
I was off for years before I went in. Dude, it doesn't benefit you,
It
bro. You're
doesn't.
too heavy.
Yeah.
Dude, I went in. I didn't do anything from when I got out of college, even in college a little bit, all the way for years until I was like in the teams for a few
Yeah,
years.
I didn't do anything.
Nothing. So I was as light as I could get, dude. I don't think it was a benefit, and I didn't do anything. Even in the Legion, nothing.
Yeah, it's harder to run when you're big, dude.
Bro, you can't, dude. I mean, there's no fucking way. He's like, light is right.
Yeah.
You know, lean and mean, light is right, bro. It's just like, it's not
Plus, you got to
helping
keep that shit refrigerated.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah, well, dude, it's just not helpful. Plus, you're just not gonna have. It's a dumb way to go about it.
Yeah, my little brother's 19. He was asking me about it last night. I'm like, no. Wait at least a year.
Wait, dude.
Dude,
I mean,
wait till
it's-
your 30s, bro.
Yeah, there's no rush. I would say that was definitely, if I look back, dude, it was so many guys got fucked up. I've just been really fortunate and shit. And luckily, my dad kind of told me, hey, bro, be smart about shit
Mhm.
very young. So I had some information going into stuff, and I always learned, like, less is more. Like, more is
Yeah.
not better.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned a long time ago, for better or worse. It's good information.
Yeah, I almost put myself in liver failure one time doing too much.
See what I'm saying, dude?
Yeah.
It's like microdose is the best way to
Yeah.
go. Seriously,
Yeah.
because it's like if you're talking about sustainable action, if you're not trying to get in a Speedo on stage or fucking be a power lifter, it's no
Yeah,
benefit.
minimal effective dose.
Yeah, dude.
Brad
Absolutely.
Geary was the captain at Buds,
Yeah.
and he just got thrown under the bus
Yeah.
for all of that. And, that was a massive,
Bro, that dude's a
battling
beast.
UCMJ.
I got a
awesome,
lot of
man.
respect for that guy, bro, how he's approached that whole
Dude,
scenario.
for real.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude, and that
super
shit's been
cool.
going on for fucking, decades. I remember when I was in Buds in 94, there were fucking dudes. They had a big sweep, and there were dudes faking. There was this one dude, he faked passing out so he didn't have to take the fucking piss test.
Right.
Damn, they were piss testing then.
They were
That's
piss
crazy.
testing for fucking steroids.
It comes
then.
in waves, dude.
And
Yeah.
that shit's expensive, too.
Yeah, they had everybody lined up, and then this dude Dude, we were like running into the compound, and then we had lines of fucking people were going into first phase, and dude, they had fucking bottles, and they had
Damn.
instructors standing there watching you fucking piss, and this dude faked like passing out and hitting his head.
Genius.
Ambulance was called. So no, dude, fucking ambulance was called because he was on it.
Yeah.
He was on some shit. He faked that shit. They put him in an ambulance. They fucking took him to NAB and all this shit, and he wound up getting kicked out of fucking training.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it.
This
dude.
was after Hell Week.
Yeah.
This isn't
Oh,
like
shit.
this was in like second
Damn.
phase.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
that student died, which is why Brad Geary went under that whole investigation.
Well,
Yeah.
could be COVID vaccine too, but
Why, right? Honestly,
Yeah.
it could be.
Well, also
cool.
just the other shit, bro. Pneumonia and all this other shit. It's like
Yeah.
people die, and it's a shame. We all know military knee-jerk reaction. Got to blame somebody for something.
Absolutely.
Parents are breathing down heat unnecessarily, which I totally disagree with. Like
mhm.
them coming into that situation, because if the parents hadn't have breathed heat, Gary wouldn't have been on deck
Oh,
for
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
And
that's
that's
true.
why.
But
That's
they
why.
want someone to blame,
They
and
need
also
a
they probably
head
want
roll.
money.
Well,
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest,
exactly.
dude,
Yeah.
it's really good for everybody in the community as a whole that Brad was in that seat at the time, because I don't think a lot of people would have handled it with the grace and the power that he did.
Bro, he's a G. I got a lot of respect for the guy. And
Yeah.
he did that interview with Sean Ryan,
Oh,
dude.
dude.
I was like, damn, this
Yeah,
dude's a
nailed it.
fucking
I just
beast.
unfortunately
Yeah.
missed his retirement ceremony. He texted me with an invite, and I was so
Wow,
pumped
that's
to go
cool.
because Dave Hansen apparently gave like the sickest
it was
retirement
awesome.
speech of all
It,
time.
it
Oh,
was
I
the
bet.
best
Was it good?
retirement I've been to, dude. It was pretty sick.
Wow,
It was
that's
pretty
cool,
sick.
dude.
Especially for an officer too. Usually I'm like, whatever. But
Yeah.
dude, it was really
Wow,
fucking dope.
yeah, Dave
That was
Hansen's
cool.
got a real cool presence about him. But, I mean, even to it, getting PED tested is end up how I got kicked out. Not because of the other shit.
No shit.
Not because of this aggravated assault.
Oh,
not because
fuck.
of the fucking grand larceny, which was not true, by the way. But that's just what they charged me with.
Allegedly.
Alleged grand larceny, which I beat. But it was fucking Navy JAG saw my name come across their desk again, and I was beating the case again. And they're like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
They drug tested me that next day, passed. Even though I was at a Jimmy Buffett concert, I still passed. Then they fucking said, and this is an interesting thing, dude. They said, okay, well, you're going to get steroid tested because I got tased a bunch of time and fought some dog off. And it was like, they're like, well, something's hectic here. They sent it up to the Olympic testing center
Adrenaline.
in UCLA.
Adrenaline.
They sent
Oh,
it up.
the OTC, dude.
they
You're
sent
not
it-
passing that.
They sent it up to the fucking $3,000 test up in UCLA, and they came back, and I fucking lit that up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah, dude. But I mean, well, so to your
Is this a
benefit-
racehorse?
Yeah. I was like, what's my test levels? They're like, whatever they said. I'm like, caught me on a low day, bro.
1800.
It was flashing high score.
But I got a buddy of mine that's an athlete, and he would always pack his own meals whenever we would like go out to dinner anywhere because you didn't really
Yep.
know. And they would advertise organic steak on the fucking menu, but it might not have been. And finally, he was like, fuck it, I forgot to pack my food, and ordered a steak off the menu. And he's like, hey, like, where do you guys get this from? He was like super particular about it because he's getting ready to go to the summer trials.
Mm.
And sure as shit, the Olympic testing, I mean, dude, they'll find anything. And he literally got popped for the steak.
What
Wow.
the fuck?
Wow.
And like the guy's a shooter.
Like hormones in the
he's
steak?
a rapid fire pistol shooter. He's not a fucking athlete.
Yeah, you're like,
Well,
what the hell? You're like, I'm not trying to jump
Yeah,
high,
he's a
motherfucker.
marksman.
Got
like-
biceps on your trigger.
Just one and two and one. But yeah, dude, they'll find anything with that test.
Bro, it was powerful. And they go, hey, you popped. And I was like, for what? And they told me, and I was like, I'm fucked. And so I lawyered up immediately. But it's interesting. I walked up that day, and I had a fake dick in my locker. And because I was prepared.
Wait,
I
Not for
but-
the piss test. That was for something else.
that was just for Saturday
It had a
nights.
sticky on the back.
That was just for Saturday nights. But
I do my own double penetration.
I outsource nothing. And but I looked at that dick, dude, and I went, fuck it. I was like, this is what I said to my, I was like, I'm just going to charge the machine gun nest. Fuck it. I felt like I kind of earned it at that point, and it was just like, I knew there would have been more obstacles to fight. I was like, let me just do this and see what happens. And it was what it was. Because you get caught with the dick also, it would have been, I still had that. I wasn't sure really what was going to happen, or maybe they're bluffing. They weren't bluffing. But it was what it was.
Well, sometimes, there's honor in standing and fighting too. where
Yeah.
they're right or wrong.
And that's what it
is,
was.
But
Well, look
I
at
mean,
Geary.
it takes money. Yeah, look at
He
Geary.
could have just
But
fucking turned
also,
over and take it in the fucking ass, dude.
He could have, like most people would have done, but luckily he's connected enough. And then also, Sean's had to deal with this. Eddie Gallagher's had to deal with this. Tim Spears had to deal with this.
Yeah.
And so we all know now that Palator Law Firm is like the law firm to go to
Yeah.
with regards to like defending like service members. And something that I've talked to Tim about and Eddie and Brad was like, dude, it's just mind blowing how UCMJ like wants to fry you.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They don't want to sweep
Yeah.
anything under the
It's
rug.
about
They don't want
optics.
like they want like the polarity of the situation like front and center
They don't give a
because
fuck
it's
about
like
the truth.
no, they don't.
Yeah,
and
it
and
is
it's
pretty
fucking
fucked up.
disgusting. Like Tim got locked up for a year. Eddie was in there for fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
what the fuck are we
Well, I
doing?
didn't know Tim went through that like that long. That's powerful, dude. I had a good guy. He was the prior prosecutor in the Navy and got out, and now he's defense. And I hooked up with him. He's a former captain. And so he was really good. And
that's cool.
I told Navy Jag I won't talk to you. I never spoke to them. I never went into one meeting.
I don't
never
blame
said.
you.
And I was like, I'm not going to do anything. And it was the smartest thing I ever did
Yeah.
because I just had him deal with it. They're like, oh, he's lawyered up, but what the fuck are we going to do?
Yeah.
But also, they wanted something. And they were like, well, if you don't fight it and don't make a big thing out of it, we're not going to make a big thing out of it. But we're taking your fucking GI Bill. And I'm like, good, I ain't going back to school anyway, bro.
Oh,
You can have it.
no.
What
You
the
got me.
fuck, dude?
Yeah, that's what they
of all
wanted.
shit.
They wanted something.
Yeah, we don't want you
Something,
to
yeah.
have an education and potentially be prosperous outside of the
what
military.
a fucking crock
That's
of
what they
shit.
wanted.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's just like the little nuance.
Yeah, I
like
had to
shit.
give him
Nitpicking,
Yeah.
fucking.
It
Like,
was a bit- I
we
thought-
we're
yeah.
gonna win something.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
wanted something out of me, bro.
You know what the funny thing is, dude? You were talking about that dick story, and
If somebody's just tuning
dude.
in.
So about wieners.
Yeah.
So I had just PCS from Germany to Fort Carson, Colorado, and I had gotten there, and the unit that I ripped with was the unit I was going to. So they were still back in Afghanistan. And I showed up, and I was in charge of rear D. I was in E6, and I'm just like fucking hating life, right? And there was this big old black dude named Bowman. And this guy was like perpetually just trouble, right? Like he was on his way out, and they'd already busted him for coke, busted him for steroids, busted him for all this shit, and I was the
That
meat
sounds
gazer.
fucking cool, man.
You get that guy on the show.
yeah.
Well, he's dead now.
Yeah, that guy went hard.
So I'm
you
sitting.
know how often we're telling a story and like, well, he's dead now? That's
I-
like 50%
yeah.
of the
The
story.
The kid that fucking passed out in the Buds line, he's dead.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
He
if
actually
anything,
made
gets
it
us
into the
credit.
teams.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and I look over, and I just see this big old black dude with a white dick coming out of his pants, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck? And he's like, what's up? And I'm like, you
Alopecia.
couldn't even got like a matching dick.
Spray paint.
And he's like, it's the only one
Church
they
it up a
had.
little bit.
And I'm like, dude,
Alopecia.
what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, son, come on. They're like, I'm getting some bennies. They're kicking me out. Like, can we just not make this a process? And I was like, thinking in my head, I'm like, oh boy, that was me about 3 years ago. I'm like, all right, dude, you're fine. But if this comes back to haunt me, like, fuck you. And
yeah.
and then sure shit later he got out and he was living in Colorado Springs and was driving like 130 down I think it's like the 25 from Colorado Springs to Denver, and whip slipped and
Yep.
then tomahawked and
Piled it
that
up.
was that.
Wow.
And like I'm like, all right, well, that's not coming back to haunt me. But
Yeah.
I'll just never forget just a white dick coming out with like
That's
this
pretty
big
funny.
old like
It's like a small
250
white
pound
dick.
black
You're like, what the fuck?
uncircumcised even.
Yeah, uncircumcised.
He's like, don't judge me. I'm only 98% black.
Fuck, dude.
Nice hog.
Yeah, but I think that's a theme though, man. Like we see some dudes like just go race car in the red the whole time, and you can luck out and you can navigate and you can save it. And then sometimes you get to the point where you're like, fuck, all right, you have a little come to Jesus moment.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I got to get my shit together.
Yeah.
And then you do, and you have a totally different fucking trajectory and arc. And some dudes just, they think because they get away with it, they're like, I'm just going to keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that almost always ends in, oh, I fucking died doing this weird.
So it's either an
random shit.
awakening situation, and in my case, it was both. There was an awakening situation, and then it was also a good leadership. You know, because like there was a lot of times I should have been kicked out, but they just kind of gave me the benefit of the doubt, and I had a really good squad leader that kind of took me under his wing, and he's like, I know you're a fucking piece of shit, but like you're really good downrange, so like let's just keep this going, and just kind of like mentored me. and kept me out of trouble. And
Well, that's good that you weren't
yeah.
a hypocrite when you were in that same position later, because a lot of
I know.
people are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of them are.
and that's definitely something that I kind of stood by. You know, like I wanted to be, you know, a man of the people, like fair but like hard as fuck.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's a tough balance, you know, especially when you're playing politics when
Yeah.
you're at the E6, E78
Yeah.
level. And
That's rough too. I've seen a million. I would say a million. I've seen, you know, not to cut you off, but there's tons of those dudes that get to that E9 level and they kind of forget where the fuck they came from.
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
And you're
What
like,
do they say? There's no E10, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a good statement.
Well,
You
no
know,
shit.
it's
You're
like,
like, what the
chill out,
fuck,
dude.
man? Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna make the same regardless.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
not being
I know
Macpon,
it
dude.
might
Yeah.
not be about pay.
Yeah.
It's more at that point. It's more about control and power, and it's
Yeah.
not that you're a politician, but it almost gets to that level
which
when
is
you're.
weird, because you would think, and maybe this is the perpetual fucking E5 in me, but you would think that it would be about perpetuating the right culture and the strength of the community within
Mhm.
that, not just like elevating your personal fucking weird power goals above anything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hey, dude, I was treated really well, dude. At Team 7, my leadership
Hey,
gave me
I don't know if
a
you can
lot of
push that.
rope.
I don't know if you push that thing forward.
And yeah, I gave myself a lot. They gave me a lot of rope and a lot of protections, and
that's cool.
so I was really grateful with the leadership. I mean, even the CO, I would have got an OTH if it wasn't for the CO.
No shit.
Team 7. Yeah,
Oh, no
because
shit.
technically it was zero tolerance.
Who was the skipper?
I forget his name, honestly, because he was just there right at the tail
Oh,
end.
yeah.
But they asked some people, and like, hey, the Master Chief was like, dude, this dude's he's a knucklehead off the field, liberty risk. but and not all the time, but just when he is, and they go, he doesn't deserve a fucking OTH. And I didn't know this, but the CO of any
OTH is other than honorable.
yeah, other than honorable, this commanding officer has the ability to cap it, your discharge disposition,
Yeah.
one
Oh, shit.
level. So you know you can just do. And so he gave me an OTH. He goes, he gets a general. So I got a general under honorable, which is
That's
fucking huge
cool.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
I
Yeah.
mean, that was I got the chills, dude, because of
That's a good hookup.
how big a hookup that was in
Yeah.
my life because I didn't earn it, right? I had done, technically I did the crime. I was like, I was what it was.
Yeah,
and
but
he
also
gave it
it's
to
your
me.
rep. Like you're a good team guy, you know, and you're good. You're a good frogman, and
Yeah.
that goes along. Thankfully, that still goes a long way.
That
And-
was what exactly kept me in.
Yeah.
Is I was good operationally.
Yeah.
But as soon as you give me a rope back in garrison to like
Yeah.
winch myself by, like I would.
And
Yeah.
there's dude, there's stories. There's literally tens of thousands of these. Maybe not thousands. There's hundreds of these team guys. I mean, fuck, I know a handful. Tage, fucking
Oh,
Indy,
yeah, dude.
fucking dudes. It's like, hey, break glass in case of war type shit.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things with Captain Dietz, Commander Dietz, who was our XO at 5 and then became the CO at 5, and I think he retired as a captain. Still good dude, friend of mine, and it's one of those things where, you know, he would bend over backwards to help guys out who, you know, habitually fuck themselves, you know, DUIs on deployment, you know, just as like, I can't. He's like, dude, my fucking hands are tied.
Yeah.
I can't do anything at this
But
point.
at the time, it was one of those things where, you know, I know team guys are like, oh, dude, fuck me. Like, he pulled me back from deployment. And you're like, hey, dumb fuck. You know why he did that?
Yeah.
Because he didn't want you charged by these motherfuckers downrange.
Yeah.
He didn't want you charged and sitting in a Japanese fucking
Yeah.
prison in
Yeah.
fucking Okinawa for
That is-
crashing into a fucking, you know.
That is
Yeah.
very true, though. Your perspective changes
Yeah.
as you get older, and
Yeah.
and you elevate in a leadership position. You have more responsibility. I know there's so many things, like I didn't realize I was a really hard dude to lead until I was in a leadership position. I was thinking back on myself. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
man, I was probably a really shitty person
Yeah.
to fucking try to lead.
Well, that's a lot of progress, man, when you can see that perspective from that third party observer and go, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was challenging, and so
Yeah.
being able to frame it right, it's huge, man.
Yeah, well, I think it's the only way to progress, though. You know, like you have to understand your weaknesses in order to make them a strength. Because if you don't, you're just going to perpetually do the same shit over and over again.
Honest self audits are rare. because it takes a level of accountability that most people just don't get to.
Well, but I thought that's what, like the military kind of instills in us is make a mistake once, not twice.
Yeah.
But in regards to this, kind of current topic,
Entrepreneurship
there's a lot of guys that make mistakes 2 and 3 and 4 times. But I've always been a proponent of like, fuck, that was painful.
Yeah.
Like I'm only doing that once.
Yeah.
And then like I'll do another one, but it ain't gonna be the same one ever. And there's a lot of lessons learned.
Sometimes they're worth it. Like I remember I spent a couple days in the hospital beating the shit out of somebody one time because I
With your face?
Yeah.
they're in the beds next to each other.
Face.
Hey, you can eat your oatmeal.
Lieutenant Dan, ice cream.
I smashed this dude's teeth in, and that's why my knuckle's all scarred. Well, I got a lot of scars, but the biggest scar is from this dude's knuckle, and it had like chunks of his teeth still on my knuckle, and you could see the bone in it. And I was like, I'll just rinse it out, it'll probably be fine. Well, it turns out it was not fine. So I had to go to the hospital and get a fucking IV drip for like 3 days. And it was like, I broke my back in a street fight years ago, and that was like a 9.5 pain. Like, that fucking hurt. This was like an 8.5. Like, it fucking,
Damn.
getting my hand below my heart was like,
Wow,
fuck,
yeah.
the pressure
Really?
was,
Yeah.
it hurt so fucking bad. So spending a couple days in the hospital was not ideal. However,
Were you in the teams at this point?
I was already out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to go into too many details.
Yeah,
Statute of limitations is not up on this
yeah,
one yet.
just hanging out. Fucking.
But sitting there, and I'm like,
Maybe.
so now I'm like, okay, well, was it worth it? Yes. But here's what I learned. I didn't have the right gloves. So now I have gloves with knuckle protection.
Yeah.
Those good old Oakley
Yeah,
gloves.
so now I have different gloves because I smashed right through the other gloves that I had
Wait, also, why were you wearing gloves?
because I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah, dude. Damn.
He just packed him in his
That's
bag like,
like-
a golfer.
He's like the fucking that epic old school bouncer that's like his fucking rigs up before he goes out to handle
The
some
mouth
business.
guard. Yeah.
Yeah,
No shit.
Roadhouse fucking extraordinary.
But
I
you know,
gotta wear a
so-
mouth guard over
sometimes
gloves.
it's worth it though. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, yeah, I did it wrong and I learned my lesson there, but I'm not gonna let these things fucking go. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody deserves it, and I'm in a position where I can
Yeah.
administer that correction, like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking take it. Although it's gone wrong. Like last actual fight I got in, I got knocked the fuck out,
yeah.
and Disney had to come pick me up. I looked like dude, my jaw must have almost got broke because it was so big. I looked like Thanos the next day. Bro. It was fucking huge.
Where was this? PB?
PB, yeah.
Oh,
No
God.
way. Weird.
You're weird, right?
Yeah. What happened?
And he still lives there.
So as far as I can tell, I was out with instructor Haas. Fucking
Nice.
Zach Haas.
Yes.
We're out drinking, and then
Yeah.
he fucking left me, and we're day drinking, then turned into night drinking.
Yeah.
And I'm a really happy drunk,
Yeah.
but also I can't.
There's a switch.
Yeah.
Well, no, I can't stand when people are fucking inconsiderate
Yeah.
or assholes or bullies or something
Yeah.
like that, and particularly driving. So what happened was these clown group had jumped out in front of traffic basically and like crossing the street from the tavern,
Yeah.
and they were crossing. Was like, "Fuck you, nerds,"
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna be the fucking traffic cop police,
Yeah, yeah.
We give you some.
Yeah.
And I just got fucking straight one dude, man. Dude, thankfully they didn't fuck me up after I was out.
Yeah.
But I just woke up on the grass. I'm like, oh, this is so embarrassing.
It's
Wow.
so
embarrassing.
bad.
They showed
Yeah.
me.
Oh my god. And Disney was
Maybe you
calling
can
me.
do
He's like,
that.
where are you? I'm like, I don't even want to. I'm not even gonna answer that. I'm just stumbling
I'm
around.
gonna walk
PB.
this off.
Maybe that was a crosswalk.
Yeah.
So that was a big lesson learned for me. Where okay, that was not worth it. So I'm
Yeah.
not gonna play traffic cop when I'm drinking. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you want to jaywalk? Okay.
So yeah, I learned
Good
not
on
to
you.
pick fights when I'm drinking because confidence is up here, but like
Yeah.
gross motor skills are down here. And normally a fight that I probably could have won is now
Yeah.
kind of like a coin toss.
Yeah, yeah, it's true, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I got tuned up in Idaho, dude. So, bro, of course, bro, fucking Idaho, man, Boise, which is where I got in trouble initially. And just to say, put yourself in scenarios, bro. I was on a date with a chick, and I was walking out of this bar, a steakhouse, the nicest steakhouse in Idaho, and this dude goes walking out. I could have left the situation, but he goes, I heard it, dude, and I was like, and he goes. On the chick I was with.
No.
And I-
Talk to Loogie?
It's on fucking video. And I go, and I'm walking out, and he goes, come to find out, he was a townie, didn't like I was there with her. She's from there. And that whole thing. But I sensed it.
Well,
Also in
vividly.
Boise, you
Fuck.
stick out like a dick in a
Yeah,
punch bowl.
they knew I was a team guy. I was there late, and long story. So I went and I no-looked and just right straight at him. And it was like when you hit a baseball and it's like you don't even feel it. It just goes yard. It was one of those, dude. And it broke his orbital eye socket, and that's what started that whole cascade of aggravated assault and stuff. But that scenario really taught me something. It's like, bro, you got to be real careful about what situations you kind of put yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm on probation there. Go to Idaho on vacation, leave on probation. So I'm on
Vacation
probation.
to probation needs to be a
That's
tagline.
another good shot.
We
Good
we
shirt.
come back from Iraq, bro. Come back from Iraq. I'm on probation, going up there for court, facing jury trial, which has been going on for a year and a half. And of course, I'm up there on a JTAC trip. And I'm still kind of navigating this thing. I'm in the hotel room. Fucking, I'm not going out. We're there with a bunch of team guys, a bunch of officers.
Resisting the
They're like,
devil,
I'm getting
yeah.
blown up. They're like, one night they go out. I'm like, hey, come on. I'm like, I'm not going out here, dude.
Come
Goddamn.
on, pussy.
Yeah, and so then it comes out. I go, okay, I'll come out. But we're not staying out and fucking, I'm coming back. Dude, you can't make this shit up, dude. I walk out of this, and I go, okay, we're in this club. Okay, I walk out. Our junior officer in an alley is getting his fucking ass kicked. And I go, and I'm there by myself. And I go, you can't make this shit up.
Do I be the Blue Falcon?
And so I
Or the
went in
hero?
there and I fucking started throwing haymakers, bro. And I was raining some hell down. And one country boy, though, dude, got me good. I got a huge scar right here, dude. I don't know where he came from, but he got me good. I didn't fall down.
Hit you with a dumpster.
He hit me with one good one, but he split my whole thing. We get him away, and we go back to the hotel. I'm all split up. I have to take myself to urgent care the next day and get stitched up to make it to the
Court
JTAC
case.
range the next
Oh,
day.
Which you got to talk on the radio, and you're like,
I'm like, oh, dude, and they look at me. I'm like, you motherfuckers! I told you I didn't want to go out. You know, dude. Like, damn, if I get clipped up here, I'm fucked, man.
Yeah, no shit, dude.
Like, what did I just fucking say?
The moral of the story is don't get in fights in Boise.
Nah,
Fuck,
man,
dude.
they're strict there, dude, because it's all privatized there. You know, their penal system or whatever. It's
Oh, so the
privatized.
city's fund.
They're fun, yeah. So they get a lot of kickbacks from people getting in. So they're pretty strict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that whole what you're saying about people being inconsiderate, I don't know if that's my fucking trigger as well. But I just remember being at Cavanaugh's,
Fucking bothers the
at Brad
shit out of me,
Cavanaugh's
dude.
wake. It was at the VFW, and then of course it's like, oh, let's go
Which
to
one?
Danny's.
Yeah.
Well, they had the one.
The one on Nado is not a fight one. The one down here, dude, I almost got my ass kicked. and
Well,
threw
dude,
down.
I fucking lost a fucking tooth in Danny's. Like, going there, you know, it's wall to wall fucking people.
Everyone's shirts off.
Yeah.
Fucking beers being thrown.
It wasn't that bad at first because it was after the huge thing at the high school, and then there was a thing at the VFW, and then obviously all the overflow went to Danny's. And I just remember I squeezed my way up to the bar, and they had like 3 or 4 bartenders, all chicks.
Yeah.
And I just remember a dude comes in beside me, and he's like, "Hey, sugar," or "Hey, honey." You know, I asked for fucking 3 shots earlier. You know, you're just like,
Yeah.
God damn, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Dial it
like
back.
look around. There's like 400 people in a bar that should probably be, 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There probably wasn't 400,
Yeah,
but I
but it
mean,
was a
dude,
lot.
it's like
Yeah.
the fire marshal would be losing his marbles.
Yeah,
but,
dude, it gets tight in there
Yeah, one
after
bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
after something.
Yeah, but
Dude.
dude, he winds up fucking hucking a fucking shot glass at one of the fucking chick, like
Damn.
a shot glass that was like on the,
Yeah.
he's just like, and I'm just like, oh motherfucker, and I fucking hit this fucking dude, thinking, lights out. Nope, I'd been drinking for a while,
Yeah.
and dude, he fucking elbows me. I fucking go to the ground, dude, like pile of people, and then I went up on top of this guy, like kneeing him in the fucking head. They pull me off of him, and me and another team guy wound up throwing this dude out on the fucking street. And we happened to like look down towards Clayton's, and there's 2 cops standing on the corner because Cavanaugh's dad was former
Yeah.
Coronado PD, and
Oh, was he?
Oh, I didn't know that.
and so they were out in force, just kind of.
Well,
Yeah.
they know better.
Well, dude,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, we're fucked.
You've seen this
dude,
line of ants
Yeah.
going into Danny's.
Well,
You're
dude,
like,
they-
let's
oh,
post
man.
up
Yeah.
outside.
Well,
Yeah.
dude, these two cops just kind of look at us, and it's me and this other team guy who I won't name, but there's this guy fucking laying in a pile of shit, and then we look down at them, they look at us, and we're just like, oh, fuck.
Run!
No, dude. No, like these dudes,
That's
they just casually turn and walk across the street. I was like, oh, shit.
You see anything, Frank?
Yeah.
Nope, we didn't see nothing.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm
No,
good.
Yeah, but then that's when I start to walk back inside, and I'm like, oh, shit. They're good. And I had
Did you pull it out?
No, I had a bridge.
Yeah.
So it knocked the bridge out.
Fuck.
Oh shit.
So I had lost my tooth like when I was like 8, like catching baseball.
Is that what
with my
happened to
fucking
you?
Teeth, but
Huh?
Is that what happened to you?
On the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a bunch of chips from falling down at an island. I got a buttstock in my I had a bunch of like bottom teeth that were fucked. And they kept in the military putting the ceramic inserts and they
Yep.
kept popping out. And I was in the Foreign Legion at the time. And they ain't doing shit for your
No.
teeth, bro.
You don't get the choice between
No,
ceramic
dude,
and
it's-
gold.
Yeah.
No, they were like, meh. Like, they don't even clean your teeth over there, bro. They'll once a year, maybe they'll blast them for 2 seconds. And I was like, man, I want to just make these strong as fuck. And so I was like,
Titanium.
I'm going to Turkey, bro. That's where they got all the good shit. And I went and talked to a dentist there, and he's like, you got the money, we'll do it, bro. He's like, you want to do all gold? I said, blast them in there, motherfucker. He's like, you sure? I was like, yep. And best decision I ever made. I love it.
Dude, it fits, man.
It,
Yeah,
it
it's
does fit.
perfect.
It's a vibe.
Dude,
It-
I'm
it's
so
perfect.
pissed because like it's such a good look, but like I couldn't pull it off.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, I'm so glad you do.
you can
'cause
pull
looks
it off,
fucking-
dude.
Nah.
Until
Nah.
Disney was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You
No,
were-
you can get it after the injection.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Then definitely.
Yeah, then you
she's not
definitely can
gonna
pull
leave
it
you
off.
after that.
You remember Jaws from like 007?
Yeah, yeah.
I remember being a little kid going, oh my God, amazing. And I was just obsessed with that look, dude, since I was a little kid.
It's dope, man. It looks
Yeah.
it looks good.
Yeah.
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 And that's like part of the thing. We all got tattoos and shit. It's like, how do you want to look, man? Like your presentation is kind of,
Right.
and I
It-
think a
it's
lot of
important.
people stop short of, there's so many people walking around that have an idea of what they want to look and they just don't do it. And it's
Yeah.
maybe money, organization, making shit happen, but also just
Well,
making it happen.
but now it's an XL shirt on a 120-pound dude wearing fucking capri corduroys with fucking PF flyers.
Wait,
But they
And
got-
I'm like,
Capris aren't in?
They got no sense of style.
I'm like, dude,
though.
you're an easy target.
But I
Bro,
remember-
mushroom haircut,
Yeah.
Yeah, or the
it's
broccoli.
terrible.
broccoli head,
But I remember
I see a fag in the gym wearing Birkenstocks with like calf-high
Crocs.
socks.
Crocs and Burton.
Yeah.
Croc. Jesus,
But I
bro.
remember when I first got, because I was 29 when I only have 2 tattoos. 2
Yeah.
arms. But I was
Right.
29 when I got this one, and I realized that I wanted to look on the outside the way that I felt on the inside.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, one sleeve fit at the time.
Gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually
Kevin
camouflage.
coming in hot.
Rainbow.
Yeah.
And like 10 years later, I got the second one done because I had changed, because culture had changed, and I felt like that fit who I was. But
Yeah.
also, we've all seen these people. They're like I like to say, like, I can tell more about somebody watching them walk 10 feet than talking to them for 10 minutes. Because
That's a
people
good
lie and
point.
shit.
Yeah, that's true.
But if somebody's walking, you can tell their confidence level, you can tell their aggressiveness, their assertion, their self-awareness,
Mhm.
their athleticism. You can
Yeah.
tell a lot, man. And you see these people all the time where they have all these 2 full sleeves, bright colors, but they walk around like a fucking dork.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you can't tattoo yourself tough. Like, you have to be the person.
Nah,
Yeah.
You gotta
and
live
then-
tough.
And then you get the look.
dude, my
because
biggest
of that.
fucking shit that pisses me off now is when guys go straight for the hand and finger tattoos, but they have no sleeves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or the
Neck and hands.
Neck and
Yeah,
hands
I'm like, dude, you're such a fucking
Yeah.
douche.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran into this chick bartender up in Oceanside when we used to be when I was at SQT, and we would stay up there and we were working the range, and there was this chick bartender. I think it was a Bubs bar in Oceanside, just like they have a Bubs downtown.
It'd be smart to put one up there.
Yeah, I think there is one, or at least there was at the time.
Yeah.
This was in like 05 to 07 time frame. And this chick, she was all inked up, dude, and that was her
That's my
fucking
jam.
pet peeve, dude. She was just like, I mean, dude,
You
she
gotta earn
looked
this shit.
straight up like
Suicide Girls.
no,
Kat Von D
no,
or
no,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. She
All
was
right,
like,
I don't know how you don't know it's Suicide Girls, but
no,
Suicide
no,
Girls
but
model.
yeah. same shit.
Yeah.
They all look this,
Mm-hmm.
jet black hair,
Daddy
tattoo.
issues,
yeah.
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 And,
Yeah. Freaking
but
in the
dude, it
streets,
was
mean in the
fucking-
streets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fucking crazy, man. Like she was, there was some dude there that had like a fucking hand tattoo and no tattoo,
Nothing.
and she's like, these motherfuckers don't understand the hierarchy. You got to get fucking sleeves
It's
before you
true.
get your hands
It's
tattooed.
true, dude.
You gotta get
start from
fucking-
here
yeah.
out
Start
and
under
down.
the shirt,
Yeah.
move it
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, out and down.
Yeah, I was like,
And they got to fit your personality too. Like I thought about getting hand tattoos a couple years ago. Like I had them all designed out, and like Disney drew them on me. And like, oh, they look. But now I'm like, I'm glad I didn't because
Yeah.
it's not me. You
Yeah.
know? Like it's 100% you.
Yeah, you don't force
Fits.
it. Yeah, you got to. It's got to really make sense
Yeah.
for like what you're doing in your vision.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
So
If
yeah,
I could
think-
redo this one, I would all day. But this one I'm stoked on. But
yeah.
Yeah, those finger ones are cool. I like.
so yeah, BCMX for Baja California, Mexico.
Yeah.
It's not like live, laugh, love.
Yeah.
And then 1502 for OB.
Live, laugh, love. Yeah.
I'm like, all right, put them on the toes.
Yeah, I got my first tattoo in like '96. Fucking really cool, tribal.
Yeah,
tattoo.
dude.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
dude.
Pam Anderson.
Greg
yeah.
Jones.
You had
down
Creed
at
on cassette.
Flesh
and the
Creed,
fucking
yeah.
Trans Am.
Flesh skin graphics, and then, dude, I didn't get another
He
tattoo.
did have a Trans Am actually. Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
doubt
yeah,
it.
yeah,
You
It was a
better-
dope
nice.
Trans Am though.
Yeah, it was dope. But I didn't get another tattoo until I was like 12, 13 years in the teams,
Mhm.
and that's why I got the Team 5 logo from.
Yeah, remember when you got that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
from Flesh from
That's sick.
dude. Fuck, I'm having so many brain.
Mike
fart-
Martin.
Mike Martin.
Very
Like,
cool.
Tattoo and then from then on it was just like boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. You
Yeah.
know, fucking back, ribs, legs.
What is this?
Huh?
What does that say? Check. All right.
Okay.
I was gonna say like we're
That's
talking
pretty
about like the
loud now.
escalation of tattoos, and I'm like, what does that say now? Considering like, so my first one ever was this like, we were called the Pirates of Ramadi, and so it's like a burning Iraqi flag with like an AK-47 going through its skull with like 2 bullet holes in it, and now you turn it over, and now I got an alien smoking a blunt, and then I have like the San Diego Padres like goose like just walking around. I got a taco on my wrist, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Collection of life experiences.
Yeah, it's
man.
like
Yeah.
you can tell I ate a lot of psychedelics now.
Well, it's a collection,
Yeah.
man. It's a collection of your story.
And now I've just kind of gotten over like, I mean, I still get like the pieces and stuff, but when you have so many, like you're less selective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You just become less
Yeah,
picky.
now it's like
Yeah.
passport stamps.
I think that's
Yeah.
part of the process too, is realizing they never come out exactly how you want,
Yeah.
and just being okay with imperfection. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and you'll see that with tattoo artists. You get somebody kind of who doesn't have a lot. They're like, I want this in a cloud and this much space, and they're like, dude, you go in there a lot. You're like, hey, dude, just whatever, bro. It's like this kind of an idea, but
Yeah.
however it comes out.
Yeah, like your first tattoo's like all designed out. Like I want something really fucking. And then like your fourth one is like, beat it, nerd.
Yeah.
5326 on the knuckles. And you're like,
Dude, beat it nerd is one of my
Yeah.
favorite statements of all time.
Beat it, nerd.
Because like at a bar, right? In
I've used that
PBs,
so
someone's
often.
being a fucking
Nerd.
douchebag. You're just
Yeah.
like, beat it, you fucking nerd.
yeah,
Like it's sharp, but like you don't know how to feel, right?
Yeah.
It's not like excuse you,
yep.
and it's not fuck you, faggot.
Yeah,
It's like somewhere
perfectly
in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like just the right amount of bully.
Yeah.
yeah.
But that was a Eddie Gallagher tattoo.
Was it really?
Yeah, that was one of his fundraisers.
Very cool.
He's definitely
Yeah.
taken ownership of the whole fuck around, find out
Yeah.
thing, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah,
I love it.
that
dude.
and the fucking dick and butt.
See, that one's a little too far for me. I mean, granted, I got a goose, but I don't have
That
a
one,
dick and butt.
he goes, yeah, that's my line.
And a hand
Yeah.
grenade. Yeah. Everybody's got to have a hand grenade too.
Oh, I
you
got
know?
one right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, dude, I made mine a fucking pineapple,
There
bro.
you
Yeah,
go.
me too. Pineapple, baby.
Yeah,
I'm not rocking that M67.
Yeah,
Isn't that
dude.
like a
67?
swingers thing.
I've been there
Only
before.
it's upside down.
Yeah, don't dog it till you tried it.
Move here.
Hey, facts.
Yeah.
If you're on the way, dude. So I was telling them the story yesterday. I was at my bachelor party, and there was some OnlyFans girls that were invited over by a buddy of mine, and I'm in the hot
You wanna
tub
piss?
with my ranger buddy, and this girl comes out, and it's just like ass walking out of the hot tub, and I just look, and it just says "boof here," and tattooed, like in her butt crack in a perfect V. And I was just like, what's your relationship with your dad like? Turns out she moved to Miami to get into porn, so
Yeah.
it's not great.
Yeah. Just a sigh, dude.
All right, so Ryan, I and Taylor, we've been going every place, and I'm not mad about it, but you are probably one of the most interesting men in the world. So I definitely want to hear more on behalf of your life story.
Yeah, man. I mean, after the teams, because bro, getting out, dude, I didn't know what the fuck, I didn't know who I was, bro. Like, getting out, I went to jail twice in the teams.
What class were you in coming in?
284. So I was SQT and Buds class 284, one of the originals. And when I got to the teams, dude, I was so happy. I was at Team 7. It's exactly where I wanted to go. Leadership was good, and I just felt good and was on that upward trajectory. Comms, JTAC sniper, dude, as a new guy, and fucking like feeling really good about shit. And then years later, I was there 7 years. So it was like a good enough time, but
Yeah.
I wanted to stay in. I fucking loved it, dude. I fucking really loved the culture and how things are going, and maybe screen to the next level, but that was not possible after I stacked a couple, couple issues. And when I getting out, dude, I went to jail, walked out of jail, signed my DD 214.
Oh,
That
fuck.
That was how that went down. So I had no reserve time, nothing. I was out.
And that was the whole Boise thing.
Yeah, that was actually a San Diego thing, but it was at that Jimmy Buffett concert. I
Yeah.
hopped in a golf cart and the fucking
Oh,
taser
right,
and all
right,
that shit. And so that was kind of that.
Taser.
But it was the PED thing, really.
Oh, right on.
So it was the PED thing that really kicked that off. And getting out, dude, I went into residential real estate development, and then cannabis with another team guy, building out a facility. But I was stacking bad habits, dude. I was just doing a lot of Adderall, Xanax, and but still working.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah,
like
yeah.
off partying. I was grinding. And
Yeah.
that was like, I was like, dude, raising capital now for a VC partner on multiple different fronts. I'm in a high rise downtown San Diego. I could see the team. I'm in a high rise on this in the Procopio Tower, way up in a 5,000 square foot office, 3 offices. And I'm the right hand man to this dude going, all right, I'm fucking crushing it. But now I'm stacking on an opiate habit at night. So I'm sniffing fentanyl at night, writing emails, fucking sleeping 3 hours, doing Adderall. You can't bend reality that long. And nobody was saying anything because I was doing well. And then you start getting the speed wobbles. And everybody can see it except you.
Yeah.
Everybody could see the speed wobbles except the person doing them.
And nobody's gonna say anything to you.
Yeah, no one's going to say anything until, it all kind of came crashing down. The chick leaves, job, this and that. And then I moved to Hawaii, sold all my shit. I was like, I need to fucking kind of just separate. And so I'm in the big island of Hawaii, where I fucking love that spot. I've always had a draw there through my life. And so I'm there kind of waiting for that phone call. What's the next professional step? The phone call always came, right? The fucking phone call always came, man, at the 11th hour. Nothing came. And so, dude, I was at a suicidal state, man. I had a fucking sawed off next to me on my fucking passenger seat.
God damn.
I was like, dude, I'm just tired, bro. I was like, I'm just tired. I had $6 in my account. I dropped Jimmy Watson off at the fucking airport, who's I'm on the run from a 3-letter agency. He's on the run from a 3-letter agency. And so I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I got no gas, no money, nowhere to go. I'm fucking homeless. I realized, I was like, holy shit, dude, this is how it happens. So I went straight native, dude. I'm like walking around the jungle with like no shirt, no shoes, like just in it. I have some DMT, some Hawaiian chick had given me. I'm smoking that, sipping vodka, just talking to God, dude, and just really in this state, like, what am I going to do? And that's when I had that moment of clarity going, you pussy. Sack up, dude. Like, stop being woe is me. And that's when I decided, I'm like, dude, I'm fucking, if I'm going to die, I'm not doing it by my own hand. I'm going to do it with my boots on at least.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, I'm going to the French Foreign Legion. Maybe who the fuck knows what'll happen. And I sold my shit and went. I took out some fast cash loans and fucking went to France. And that was went and knocked on the door. People that don't know, it's a foreign institution that's a branch of the military in France, like 7,000 guys, but it's all foreigners. And you go knock on the door. There's no application. There's no fucking.
No shit.
Yeah, you just
So
go
you
knock.
literally sold your shit, got on a fucking plane. In
Yeah,
Hawaii.
one-way ticket, dude. I stopped in L.A. for one night, went to the strip club with some fucking chick I knew and, like, blew all the rest of my money I had, dude, from the fast cash loan and fucking stayed at a hostel for 3 days. And it got my system cleaned. I drank a bunch of waters. I knew they were going to drug test me and just went on some jogs and some runs and went and knocked on the door. It's like the Wizard of Oz. They just opened the door. 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, you can go knock on that door on Christmas Day.
But you just Google it?
Yeah.
No
Pretty
shit.
much. I was like, oh, French Foreign Legion, there's 2 spots to do it. This was in Paris on the outskirts. It's like it says Legion Étrangère over the doors, and it looks like an old medieval castle.
Holy shit. That's
I remember
fucking
in the
rad,
early
dude.
2000s, you around for this. There was a good group of our dudes that was pushing the edge pretty fucking hard
Yeah.
on the partying side
Yeah.
of things, to the point where we all had a plan. It's like we all had our passports, we all had a little cash. We're like, hey, if any of us get fucking rolled up,
Yeah.
I'll find you in the French Foreign Legion. Dude.
Burn the
Yeah,
candle.
yeah.
Burn the
Legit
candle at both
fucking dude,
ends.
yeah.
And you know, it's funny, in boot camp, I got some buddies that are still operating at the tip of the spear, and we'd be sitting on the rack. I'm like, hey, dude, if anything goes haywire, I'm going to France. And they're like, fucking what? And I remember I was talking to my buddy on the
Work for
phone.
the SS.
Yeah, well, you know, I talked to my buddy, and he goes, dude, I remember when you said that. I'm like, I said that? That was stupid. I shouldn't have manifested that. You know? Yeah, I foreshadowed the fuck out of that, but telegraphed it, man. But it was a weird process because Interpol background checks, psychological evaluations, they're doing medical, and you're doing a lot of this with, it's all in French. These motherfuckers, you got to speak French. And
You
so,
have to. They don't give a fuck about bending for you.
Bro,
I've read a lot of books on it.
Yeah, they'll do in the beginning the interviews and stuff, or else you just can't talk to them because they got to get like, well, they're like, why is a fucking Navy SEAL here? What the fuck did you do? Like,
Yeah.
So they don't want any issues with the United States government. That's a piece. Interpol stuff, sexual crimes, all that's a no-go. So they're pretty strict on that. And you could do these Gestapo interviews, they call them. And these guys are fucking smart, dude. They do this all day long. They have 200 years of experience doing this. And these guys are big senior enlisted guys that are pretty young. So these guys are guys that ranked up really quick in the Foreign Legion. So they speak 5 languages. They're all really smart, and they do this all day long. It's like their shore duty.
Yeah.
After they're kind of like winded down because
It's almost like SEER school instructors.
Yeah, the actual headquarter regiment is it's in Aubonne. It's in South France. It's a pretty good gig for those guys. I mean, they work out, they do this shit, and then they're like in town, like living in town in fucking South France. So it's a pretty good like deal. And but I made it through. It's about 1 out of 15 guys actually make it through that month selection.
Really? That's
So about 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15.
Like interview?
holy shit.
Yeah, like interviews. You're doing some push-ups. You're doing physical stuff.
Oh, okay.
A lot of dental, medical. A lot of guys get chopped because of medical. Like they're like, your legs are shaped weird. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Going in.
Their BMI. No, you'll have guys fail the pull-ups because the pull-ups the first thing you do. You knock on the door, the first thing they go get up on the pull bar. Like
shit.
fucking Sunday. Doesn't matter. I went in on Sunday night. It was raining. It
Sounds
was
like
fucking,
Team 1, dude.
yeah, they go get up on the pull-up bar. And you'll have guys that go from like some jungle in South America and they go from a boat to a bus to a plane to a train, get there, fail the pull-ups. So they go get the fuck out of here. Spend their whole life savings on it. They go, get the fuck out. I'm like, bro, you did train to this shit,
Hope you
dude?
got
Like,
a
you know
plan
you're going to
B,
have to get up
dude.
on the pull-up bar.
Yeah.
You idiots.
How many
Good
pulls
luck
you got to
getting
do?
home.
I think it's like 6.
Yeah.
It's like not some crazy amount,
Yeah.
but you have some Ukrainian up there with some Ukrainian chief going, does not count. Doing, you know, you
One.
can,
Yeah.
one. You'll get that, dude. And so if you better be able to do some dead hang pull-ups and hit a little extra.
Yeah.
But it was interesting process. You got in my graduating class it was about 40 something guys because then you go to boot camp. It's infantry boot camp. A lot of people talk. They're like, it's not special forces. It's infantry.
Yeah.
100%. It's
Yeah.
fucking infantry.
You're just learning battle drills,
Yeah.
ambushes, all that
Yeah,
shit.
you're doing basic move. So it was a humble pill
Like a
because I'm
step
doing
back.
halos and now I'm doing shoot, move, and communicate with some guys who've never been in the fucking military. I'm like, get the fuck over there, dude. You know?
Point your gun
Hey,
in
you
that
fucking
direction.
idiot.
I'm like, dégage-toi, you know, in fucking French, dude. I'm like, these motherfuckers, you got some tough dudes training. You're not shooting a lot because money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking expensive to shoot.
Yeah.
And so you got to remember that piece. People are like, how the training? Well, you're not shooting near as much. And
You're an underfunded government private military.
yeah, and you're foreigners, you know, and so you're going to get the last piece. Like, I think the food in the French military, they're allocated like €5 a meal. French Foreign Legion's allocated 3. just to give you like
€3.
€3 a meal. Like,
So that's a cigarette, a biscuit,
Yeah.
or a croissant.
Hope you like
Cigarette. Oh,
hope you
it was-
like this baguette, motherfucker.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you get in the morning. There's no breakfast issued. It's like a thing. And I remember
Europeans aren't big on breakfast.
No, I remember like waking up. I'm like, all right, we're gonna go, and they're like, hey,
Eggs
just
and hash browns.
They're like 13-mile run. I'm like, are we eating? They're like, nah, dude, get the fuck out there and be somebody.
Drink some water, bitch.
Yeah. But I was still, dude, I had a lot of experience of getting yelled at by the fucking guy in front of the ambulance, because I'm in the back, with Buds, hurry up. And so it was like I had a fucking years before, and then I'm in this spot now, and I'm going, but now this guy's just yelling at me in French with a Russian accent. Same shit. He's like, hurry the fuck up. He's like, Navy SEAL can't run. But I wouldn't stop, dude. I just keep running, just getting yelled at. I'm like, all right, I'm used to this. I've been here before. I've been here before.
Yeah, it's called a goon squad, bitch. You're like, you fucking yell at the fucking guy.
Yeah. I've done this before.
Can't hurt me.
How do you say goon squad in French?
Oh, I don't know,
No,
but
well, goon is definitely not a French word, so definitely goon. But
Yeah.
goon is the English, American or English.
keep the goon.
We can ask my wife later; she's fluent.
Damn. Yeah, it's a tough language too because we can't hear it.
No, we don't.
We can't hear it, so it sounds like you don't know what letters they're enunciating because they don't.
You can't, and like when you try to read it on a menu, like I can read. Well, no, I can't read Arabic,
very
but like
liquid,
German or like any of like the other foreign languages, I can look at it on the menu and I can at least say it whether I know what the fuck it means or
Yeah.
not. But in French, it's not the case at all.
No.
Like I don't know where to like wa and I
Or
or ul.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like I don't know
challenging.
that letter combination.
Yeah, and they don't pronounce their letters, and so it's really hard to hear. And so it was challenging, man, throughout that whole time. Your experience, and they're really, really big on discipline and extra military attention, right? So I got a little bit of that, not because I was doing dumb shit, but just marching. I stand out. They don't like it. One day I had to stack rocks for 3 days in the fucking snow, and there's no rocks, and I had to build a pyramid as tall as
And there's no rocks.
and there's no rocks. So I was walking 15 minutes to put 3 rocks in my backpack. It took me 3 fucking days for 16 hours a day. Dead serious.
Holy shit.
And I still cheated because I put something underneath to kind of like. That pyramid was still there by the time I left.
No shit.
Yeah. But it's a lot of pomp and circumstance. It's French. Yeah. Officers are here. They come from Saint Cyr, their military academy, and they're French. We're foreigners. And then the French officers, it's like a feather in the cap to be an officer in the French Foreign Legion.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's got some edge. You can kind of push your weight around. Nobody's going to question shit. So it's like, and they'll just charge the machine gun nest, dude. There's no French coming back in body
They're
bags.
all
So it's like,
foreigners,
hey,
right?
dude, there's no political pressure.
Everybody in the French Foreign Legion are foreigners.
Yeah, it's like
even the officers.
It's like officers are French.
Oh, okay.
So even like 1 or 2% are French.
Okay.
But that's rare, and they change their name and they make them Canadian.
I didn't know if there was some kind of fucking.
Yeah, you get the fake name. My name was Trent Clayson. They gave me a fake name. I had a French passport under that name.
Trent Clayson.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of that. Maybe you put it up if you do
Dude,
that.
that'd be sick.
Yeah, I got a French passport that says Trent Clayson on it. Dude, and they change your birth date they add a month and they add a day. Mine was, I looked at it, I was like, this can't be fucking for real. And they change your birth city. Mine was September 11th in New York.
Oh,
No way.
Because I'm August 10th.
No
But it was just
shit.
how it works. And I go, motherfucker. I'm like, I'm going to take it as a good omen.
Yeah.
fuck.
I was like, I'll take it. I looked at it. It
Dude,
said,
that's wild.
yeah, it said, Trent gave me a piece of paper and they go, this is you now. And it said, Trent Clayson, September 11th, 1985. I went, what the fuck, dude?
So
This
how
is
long
weird.
did it take you post French Foreign Legion to kind of not be Trent fucking Clayson?
So if you're in 3 years, you get
You get citizenship, right?
not citizenship, but you can put in what's called RSM, Regularization Situation Militaire, which you can request your birth certificate gets sent, and they do an extra background check. You get your real name back. Because before that, you don't get your passport back. You can't fucking leave France. So I got my passport back after 3 fucking years. I didn't see my passport for 3 years.
God damn.
Yeah. So that was another piece is you can't leave France.
But a lot of people don't want to leave France because they're kind of on the run.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, a lot of
trying to
people, where are they
dodge
going to go? It's also expensive as shit, and it's like you're working a lot too. I mean, we went to South America on a 5-month deployment doing deep jungle operations. We were in Estonia on the Russian border. We did interior anti-terrorism domestic patrols in France on the Riviera, which was fucking awesome. Topless chicks fucking do they and like tatted up fucking beret walking with an HK-416. They use HK-416s and I'm like,
Oh, they're not using fouls now?
They use the they use the FAMAS for
Or the
that
FAMAS.
that bullpup for most of the time. You'll still use it a lot, but they shifted to the HK
Yeah.
right while I was there. So that was really new. But it was nice, dude. It was fucking cool, man. I hooked up with a fucking badass chick from Madagascar when I was there. I would take my time off. It was cool, man. Yeah, it was a interesting time.
So when you started posting, started posting stuff. I'm like, no fucking way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, man. And that was weird because I was in the hospital on the tail end. I'd torn my calf up in the fucking mountains like a couple of years before, and I was like, I gotta get this shit checked out. Because I was at the mountain regiment. It's like a mountain infantry regiment.
Yeah.
And it's fucking Alps.
Like
bro,
10th
hard.
Mountain
Kind of like our
Division.
10th Mountain.
Ooh,
Yeah.
bro.
Except better.
All the guys from Nepal are at my regiment, dude. I'm just getting
They're all
smoke checked.
Sherpas.
Bro, they're all Sherpas, dude. And
Win
I'm going,
120, just like,
I'm hurting, dude. I failed my first fucking summer mountain course. It wasn't like you can't do it. They were just like, you got to come back and do this run again. It was a 4-hour run up a hill with a fucking pack on it. I was like, they're like, you got to run down too. I'm like, I'm not fucking running down. I told them, I was like, I ain't running down. I'll walk down fucking nice and slow. And I failed. I was like, fuck, dude. But it was a good experience overall.
So I got go on, because I got so many fucking questions.
No,
about
all I was gonna say is like you hear so many fucking weird stories, and obviously the Van Damme movie, fucking Legionnaire, where he's like, you have this preconceived notion of people joining the Foreign Legion to like escape shit, get away from shit. So like when you guys go on deployments and stuff, say for example South America, you have cats that are going fucking AWOL and like ditching, like bouncing, and
So you got to pull the South American cats, right? So that way they're not getting picked up.
Yeah, 100%, dude. That's actually a really good point. They have guys that are they don't send a lot of South Americans to South America to the regiment because they'll fucking leave. Some of them, if they want to leave, but some guys don't want to leave. So it's something they think about. It's strategically they think about that shit.
Yeah,
because they have a permanent regiment in South America in Guyane Francais and French Guiana, which is they have their the European NASA
like the
facility
east
there.
Side of it's like below Venezuela, right?
It's between a lot of people don't know France has territory there, but it's between Venezuela and Brazil. Right there, Suriname, right next to Suriname, and dude, that place was fucking weird, bro. It's like we would go to Suriname to buy cigarettes and shit because the fucking cigarettes are German and they're like $10 for a whole carton. Amazing. And we'd go over there, but it'd be these Chinese fucking, it was like a Star Wars bar. It's like, I don't know how else to say it. You know, it's like it's like all these different like.
The Tatooine Cantina.
I was like, what the fuck? There's a whorehouse in the back.
Of course
There's a brothel in the back. There's a fucking, it was this Hungarian guy and he would be like, every time we'd pull in, he'd be like, "Hoo," and you wouldn't see him. And I'm like, this fucking dirty motherfucker. And he'd come back and, but we would buy our beers and like buy, whatever and kind of sit and chill. And there'd be like just people from all these different areas. I'm like, what the fuck is everybody doing out here? It's the middle of the fucking jungle, dude. Like the Chinese, bro, they're just everywhere.
Like expats and shit?
You'd have like a random expat guy. You'd have some black natives. You'd have some white chicks from fucking Russia. It was so weird, dude.
Fucking random.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted to ask. Because he's been on a lot of podcasts. I watch a few of them. The story's fucking incredible. But I wanted to get into some stories that we can't find in the podcast. And I've personally wondered, because we were in Djibouti and we were not directly related or talking with the French Foreign Legion guys there, but we would go to the same bars.
Yeah.
And this weird kind of like respectful standoff kind of thing. And then I got too drunk, so I don't fucking remember the whole thing.
No way.
Yeah, weird, right? But like, because you've been partying the SEAL teams.
Yeah.
And then what was partying like with those? Because I imagine like it's a whole regiment full of laborious dudes.
Yeah.
What do they do? And how does partying with them similar or different than partying with like?
So the brotherhood's not there, right? That part's, you don't get that same thing. That doesn't really exist. Because it's clicked up by language.
Yeah,
you forget,
for sure.
You forget the Russian speakers. I was pretty much friends with everybody because I'm kind of a catch-all. I'm like the only American, and I can shoot and stuff, and so they respect that shit. And so but you can't really speak to them, like really broken French, and so we're speaking all catch-all dog shit French to each other, and you just can't catch jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Can you
hard to
imagine
connect.
overhearing a table of FFL guys?
Oh my god!
And you're
dude.
just like, what? They're like trying to like pin them,
trying to
but
speak
you're like,
sarcasm. trying to speak sarcasm in French. You're like,
Dude, the language is it's funny because the accent in French, it's like all these different French accents. It's very odd, but those guys go out together. I had a chick that was Bulgarian, and so I would peace out and do my thing on the fucking weekend. She also did a lot of my tattoos. So it was like she was a tattoo artist. So it fucking yeah. So it was like that. I was focused on that shit, you know. But I was not around. Like there was years I was gone for 10 months a year, gone.
Yeah.
Fucking dude, just working, and so they keep you busy as fuck. So you're really not. It's different in that, and you're the money you're making shit too. So it's a little bit. But on deployments, I'll give you an example. We're in French Guiana, and I'm with a Hungarian like chief, for lack of its equivalent. This guy, if he had a beer, fucking stand the fuck by. One, he was like a different person, changed, and very difficult to manage. But he's like my chief. He's like, like, just like smashing shit. And he goes, I'm in a fucking small ass fob. I've never said this story before. I'm in a small ass fob, dude. And but it was a big enough. It was a little base, I should say. But so there was still some town around, and there was still some other French like close. We're in our little French Foreign Legion barracks area. This motherfucker busts out a gravity bong in a fucking. And I'm going, oh god, this is gonna go all bad. He's hotboxing the fucking thing, and I'm like, hey, here. I'm going, oh, fuck it. Like, fine, you know, I'm in a gravity bong. I'm on fucking deployment. I'm going, dude, I'm trying to not get wrapped up for some more shit, dude. I've been already kicked out of one military, dude. And then he goes, fuck it. He goes, you know where we're at, you know? And he's saying in French, he goes, à la village, to the village.
À la village.
Yeah, to the village. And I'm going, oh god. He goes, we're gonna buy some fucking Coke. And I'm going, oh god. So I'm in my military uniform. I'm fucking the one that gets rogered up for this to go into town with him to some bar, dark, into the village. Totally off base, fucking totally not approved. Just in there buying cocaine that was like $1 for the most pure shit for a gram you ever seen in your life.
Baby.
They just chopped it off the fucking husk, you know.
The husk.
And so
It's like corn, bro.
I have a picture of it somewhere. I don't know where it is, but he's like,
Cocaine tree.
and so we're in there with some French Guiana gangsters like taking picture, and that was it, dude. And I just remember being like, these motherfuckers, dude, are just, and he would get in trouble all the time. He got butt ass, and the same guy we had Cameroon, and this was a couple years later. We're at the Colonel's there, the Colonel. And for Cameroon, which is it's the most famous holiday in the French Foreign Legion, it's when a bunch of Legionnaires died in Mexico, almost everybody. And it's like a famous day. They just really party hard.
Cinco de Mayo. I've heard of it.
Yeah. Exactly. And the Colonel, they order strippers. They always order strippers, and they send them to the bases. And so they have Miss Kepi Blanc, they call it. It's like a fucking, but they order strippers. And so they order strippers, and I hear, yeah. And I'm going, oh, fuck. And then we've been drinking all evening. The Colonel's there, Brass is there. I turn around. This motherfucker is butt ass naked, glowing up on stage, helicoptering in front of the Colonel. He's like, gets tackled off the fucking thing. He gets shuttled to his room. And he's going through Mr. Scary for like 3 days, dude.
Mr. Scary.
He doesn't come out of his room. He would go into like a dark place of like shame and regret after the next day. He'd go, not drinking anymore, you know.
You're like, gee, wonder why.
Lesson.
It was so funny, bro.
Fucking Hungarians, dude.
And but yeah, these guys, it was an interesting kind of a vibe. And it's honestly, a lot of the Eastern Bloc guys have gone the other way because they come from such hardcore alcoholic families. Some of them wouldn't drink. A lot of them were straight edge, bro. A lot of them, more than I was surprised. Like a lot of Ukrainians and shit, they were like, I don't drink. I think they came from some, for 3 months I ate mice because, my mom was an alcoholic.
Jesus Christ.
Like
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would go, and they were fit, dude. A lot of really fit, tough dudes.
That's wild, man.
Yeah. They love running, too, and I fucking hated that, dude. Holy
They
shit.
love running. With run from bums, old time.
Dude, that's
Well,
like
the
the
French
fucking
one-
Grom, dude. Those guys fucking run their asses
Dude,
off.
a lot of those European units, dude, they fucking pride themselves on, like, cardio monsters, dude. They'd run every day. Minimum 5 miles, rain, snow, fucking every day.
That's how the teams used to be in the 90s. It was a big, like, cardio based.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really do anything. So it's
Yeah,
like-
and that's what it is. It's like guys that's what they would do. It's cheap, it's easy, and you can move. They pride themselves on the philosophy of they pack light. They don't have a lot. They're speed over security, and their security was
Pack
dog
light,
shit.
freeze at night.
We would patrol and stuff, and dude, not once did anybody say, "Hey, you should fucking look left and right." Dead serious. They didn't give a
Yeah.
fuck. They didn't give a fuck. They're like, "Hurry up." That's all they
Desert
cared about.
treadmill, fucking.
Yeah, they would say, "Hurry the fuck up." Not once. They were like, "Hey, dude, you should probably check the left or right. This is your field of fire." Not once. Bro, I didn't touch a radio for fucking 4.5 years.
Jesus.
Never had a radio. In the jungle, nobody told me shit. They're like, "Get the fuck out there and be somebody." Here's some hand signals. Fucking-
So we all know that a radio is absolutely fucking critical in mission success. So it's like, how the does a part of you
If you got
feel
somebody
like
to
you guys
call,
were
yeah.
just left out there like as like the most minuscule like pawn pieces?
Ask the Mexicans.
yeah, presents.
Yeah, it's
Presence.
just a presence.
Presence,
and,
man.
like, violence of action, but like there's no like tact, right? Because the communication's not there. Right?
Yeah, the French, the AARs, non-existent. Like when they'd come back from the French officers and maybe the NCOs would talk, but it would not get disseminated.
No
down.
filter down.
And nobody, if a French officer made a mistake, you would never hear about that. Like it's just a different culture where we
Yeah.
come from, where everybody stands up, go, "Here's what I fucked this up on this op. Here's what I fucked up on this training, or whatever." It's just how we were raised. And
We
so
said that whole
was,
fucking unit in Mexico got fucking wiped out or some shit, right?
yeah,
I mean,
dude.
how long ago was that?
This was like the 1800s.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, this was a while ago.
Calm down.
That.
It wasn't because they didn't have radios.
No, dude, but it was
They
like
ate
the
all their
Alamo.
pigeons.
Fucking cup and a fucking string.
They ate all their pigeons.
Dude, they would send fucking ravens. Yeah, it was.
See?
It was just the culture's different, man. And maybe some of it's because of the language barrier. They're like, they're not fucking gonna know what the. But your French gets pretty good, and I think it's just cultural. Saving face is really important.
Yeah.
You keep the respect. You save face, and they deal with their stuff at their level, and it doesn't
Yeah.
really get disseminated. Down.
That's so different because we're so used to like the American way of doing things. We just
Well, it's
makes
also the most
sense.
efficient way.
well, that's why we're so good at war.
Yeah.
is because we have a culture that
Could you imagine if the FFL kind of took a lesson from the U.S. military?
Bro, we have a war culture, dude. We're the most
As
warring
far as
culture.
like op orders, AERs, like after
yeah.
actions.
You know, it's funny. I didn't realize it when I was in, but after like getting out and looking objectively at other cultures, I realized like we really do have like a very unique culture across the world.
Well, Spec Ops exclusively as well, because
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
Spec Ops fits with the American culture. You know?
yeah.
But so does infantry. So does all this stuff. It's just an aggressive, like, forward moving momentum. Like we're gonna move fucking forward, and fuck you if you don't like it.
Bro,
Yeah.
there's no nation on earth that has percentage-wise more years of warring.
Yeah.
No.
Since inception, we've warred like I think 90% of the time.
And
Yeah,
and
it's
what you're
crazy.
being specific to is nations, right? Because all
Yeah,
the other
nations.
nations that were great at it don't exist anymore.
Yeah, nationwide is we've just been at it, and so we have a lot of blood experience in this culture, man.
Yeah. So I remember there's this one video. How'd you learn? Were you riding tank? I remember I saw this video.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
riding
it was.
tank.
Yeah, it was. So we had these like kind of cavalry divisions, but that was like an APC. That was like an APC
okay.
that the French use, and I'm like kind of sitting on the back, and they would mount some like
That's such a dope shot.
yeah, pretty much a saw. They would mount a saw on it, and yeah, those things are. That was cool, man. That was a cool experience because, dude, I got out there and it was run by UK. So we were the French contingent, French Foreign Legion contingent on the Enhanced Forward Presence Battle Group of Estonia on the Russian border when Ukraine was starting to kick off.
Oh yeah.
And it was run by UK, this base. So the breakfast was fucking shit hot.
Bangers
Jim
and
was
mash.
banging. Dude, I was and all the French are like, "Hey, we need you to fucking speak English." I'm like, "Motherfuckers."
Now you need me.
I'm back.
I'm back.
I'm back.
I'm like, I'm back, dude.
Interpreter.
Dude, we would be doing the kind of this training exercises because there's a lot of like cohesion that needs to happen, especially from the French units because the English is so terrible. They're like the least English speaking nation in Europe. And, I'd be coming out of the woods and there'd be like a guy from England and he's like, oh, he'd see the French flag and like, I'm like, it's all right, bro. It's fucking, he's like, what the fuck are you doing out here,
I
bro?
rode that through him for a loop.
Yeah, he was like, God damn, dude, we got to have a beer, dude. We got to hear the story why you're here. I'm like, I lost my way back there, dude, somewhere.
That was exactly going to be my next question. Is like, you're getting a lot of ragamuffins from
Well,
all.
before we go, we gotta take a quick break for pee
Yeah.
and then change batteries.
Yep, sounds good.
We're back.
We
My
are back.
audio sounds a lot better now. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dude, the audio and all the stuff's clean, man.
it's not bad.
Dude, Nick's squared away, dude.
Nick, do you had a question you were gonna roll into?
I don't remember what it was, dude. It was probably just when can I pee?
Well, we were talking about
no,
you being on a fucking APC and then
No,
something
so
else.
I do remember. So I wanted to know, right? Like when you were in the FFL and kind of like going through, a lot of these guys are from all kinds of different countries, and like you were saying, like no prior military experience, but
Yeah.
like coming from NSW, like that's a massive asset to an organization full of a bunch of fucking criminals.
Yeah.
So did you see like? Maybe not favoritism, but did you see any kind of like polarizing nuances from being a former team guy?
Do they appreciate you, or they're like, "Fuck you"?
So they hated the fact that I couldn't run, but they loved the fact that I could shoot, right? Because we were at the range and, you're driving nails on stuff.
Did they care how fucking jacked you are?
No.
No.
I actually hated it. When I was in the jungle, I used to pack tuna cans in my ruck, and they'd be so pissed because dude, I packed gear out there, dude. I was like, I brought it on a boat, dude.
Just farting tuna.
Yeah, but I'm like in the jungle, like trying to fucking pin, dude. I'm like, but that started later because I was like, man, because I wanted to get my body back, dude. When I got out of boot camp, dude, I'll show you a picture. I was tore up, bro. I was tore up, dude, from the calorie deficit and just the bad macronutrient. I was like fucking hurting.
The baguettes.
But I was like, I had to build myself back up, man. And but to answer your question, Nick, I got when we were doing house assaults and like some basic CQB stuff, they would pull me, hey, Lou, will you kind of run some of this stuff?
Yeah.
Because there was no SOPs. So I was like terrified. Dude's
Oh
running around the
my
house.
God.
I mean, just really.
And they had no sim rounds.
Dude, there was no SOPs, dude. And I'm like, dude, let's start slow. Like
Crawl, walk, run.
they were teaching guys to go run through the house like fast, like day one. I'm like, bro,
Ooh.
this is turning into
Ooh,
an absolute
God.
nightmare. Like, dudes. So I'm like, hey, let's start slow and just go through the doors. And so actually the chiefs and stuff and the sergeants were pretty good about letting me run that stuff. But I had to be,
Tactful.
tactical
Political.
political about trying to. So I just would stay back when they
Hey,
asked. I
so
would-
he told me to do this.
But I'll say there was some other key guys, and there was a Belarusian former soft guy, and a lot of those guys, they would come who had a lot of experience. They could shoot, they could move, they could communicate, but they don't do operational. They have no operate. They don't operate.
Yeah,
Their
yeah,
countries
yeah.
don't operate
Yeah.
at the time. And so and also the money. That guy, he was a captain. He was an officer at their highest level of their military, making $900 a month.
Wow.
That's what they made. And
That's
so
what an E1 barely makes, I think.
that's what they're
crazy.
making. So when they come, he's doubled his money, tripled his money immediately, and on deployment it was like quadruple. The money just off of just that. Some of it was money, and OPSEC, the operational, not OPSEC, but operational experience outside of their countries.
cool.
Because France operates, man.
Op-tempo.
I mean, 26 countries in Africa speak French. A lot of people don't realize that France has their piggies
Yeah.
down in Africa a lot. So that was part of the reason why I went in, because I'm like, well, if I want to contract, whatever, I'll go do contracting down in Africa and be able to speak French and have some French Foreign Legion connections. And so
Yeah.
that's why I went in there, and come to find out there was a lot of guys with some experience, but I would say it's probably like 15 to 20% actually had like military experience, maybe a little bit more in their countries.
But still not nearly to the level of NSW.
No,
And
there
especially GWAT NSW.
it was a completely different level of being able. So I had to really just dial back my expectation management, which was fine, because dudes were like, "Oh, dude, how was it in there?" I didn't go in with expectations. I knew it was going to be a step down, so I wasn't.
Yeah.
Thank God, because I was like, well,
Walked in with your humble pill.
yeah, I walked in with my, hey, clean this toilet, and I was just there for it. And,
Yeah.
hey, Navy SEAL can clean this fucking toilet. I got that a lot. Or we have you're strong, huh, fucking American? Hey, here's the chainsaw, and here's the fucking sledgehammer. Dead serious, bro.
Nice.
For 14 days in the jungle.
Oh,
Woo, bro, I was hurting. I couldn't carry enough water, bro. I had, like, water purification tablets, and I was like, stop!
He just like mainlining a water purification tablet and drinking out of a puddle.
I was but some of those Nepali guys are amazing, dude, because we had a lot of guys from Nepal because Gurkhas.
Yeah.
They're so selective in that selection process. Think about how many good guys they have. I think they take 200 a year or something. It's fucking
Please tell me they carried their swords.
dude. Well, these guys weren't Gurkhas. They couldn't make it, right? Because
Right.
their selection's so hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
They have 20,000 applicants a year. They take 200 or something. like
wow.
that.
God damn.
And it's
what an
like,
attrition rate.
dude, and it's like, they have the selection's insane, but it's also height, teeth. It's a lot of stuff that you don't think about. And so some guys are but they're savages, dude. Like I was in the jungle one time and I went Winchester on water, and there was I thought rivers, but there was no fucking rivers where we were, and I'm like, oh, I think I might die. I was like, dude, I'm hurting and I'm soaked.
Like cramping up.
And I look
shit.
over at this guy, dude, and he looked, and I see his like canteens on him, just packed to the brim. And he's smoking a cigarette. This Nepali guy, and he's bone dry, and I looked at him like a fucking hamburger. I was like,
Oh, shit.
can I get some of that water, buddy? You know?
I'm not really asking.
Yeah.
And I go, you're not sweating. I was like, tu perspire pas, like you don't sweat. He goes, Pabuku. Not a lot. He just goes, not a lot. He goes, you want some water? I'm like, oh, thank God, dude. These guys are tough, dude. These guys are tough, bro.
That's like fucking,
cool.
what's his name from Three Amigos? Like,
Yeah.
That would
and
be
it
me.
Hucks the canteen out in the water, out in the desert. They're like, ah!
That would hands down be me.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Did you ever get to go to the place in Djibouti?
No.
Sure.
No, because they would rotate down there, but I didn't go down there. I just didn't have it on my rotation.
Yeah, because were we talking about that on the podcast, or were we talking about before we started? I don't remember.
Before.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So for those guys listening, one of my platoons, we took over Camp Lemonnier, which I remember the fucking name of the camp. It was just this French Foreign Legion
What year
camp
was
in
that?
Djibouti. 2002, I think.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I heard you talk about that on a piece of content this morning, and I'm like, what, dude?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty wild, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I fucking hated that camp, bro. Oh, that's
Dude, it's
that's when I
brutal.
was fighting that.
That's
that
a
tall,
brutal,
tall
yeah,
black guy naked.
yeah. That's a brutal ass fucking camp, I've heard.
Yeah, it was not fun, dude. It was
It's just
fucking
a prison.
It was
but
like 120,
pretty much.
like miserable in the shade. Like it was
Yeah.
on, like
Dusty and shitty, and yeah.
fuck
Like Africa hot.
Yeah, fuck Africa.
Yeah, real hot.
Yeah.
This ain't
but-
PB hot. This is
so we got the handoff from the French Foreign Legion, but it was a shit show, dude. There was like basically like some chicken wire on the sides. There's no real defenses, no real nothing. Because I mean, the only people out there are a bunch of fucking skinnies on cot anyway. It's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
they're gonna come overrun the base.
yeah.
Well, tell that to the ODA guys that died in South Africa.
What year was that?
Oh, it wasn't long ago. Remember when Brandon Webb
Somalia?
posted it on
Oh, what was
Soft
that,
Rep?
like in Mali or some shit?
Yeah,
when
when the
fucking died?
ODA got, and it was all on GoPro.
Like
'cause
seventh, was it
It was
seventh?
Yeah,
seventh
Mali.
group.
Mali.
Yeah, so they took out. It was like 4 GV dudes, Green Beret guys, and they took out like a bunch of the Red Berets, which is what we call them. So they're all just support nerds because they're like, well, we're in Africa, like everything's gonna check out, and they just got complete L ambushed.
Yeah, there
And,
was none of
like
that
they're walked
going on
over
here.
him and like, dude, I saw like the OG like GoPro footage of like one of the US like GIs like up here like doing like this, and you just see one of the guys come up and just
Yeah,
his head.
there was
Yeah.
nothing like that at the time. There was, I mean, there might have been afterwards. 'Cause
Well,
the-
this is an 02, and this is yeah.
Also, it's Djibouti and not Mali.
yeah,
right.
nobody
Yeah.
gives a
Yeah,
fuck
exactly.
in Djibouti.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Even the Djiboutians don't give a fuck about anything in Djibouti. So we would go to the fucking embassy all the time just because the only place around that had a decent weight set
Yeah.
and air conditioning. So we
Yeah.
just get jacked in Djibouti,
Yeah.
fucking embassy, and we're sitting out there and really weird to watch that place get built up because we had to like forklift fucking bulldozers and
Yeah.
you know the Africans are with their fucking rocks out there. There's
Yeah.
piles of rocks
Yeah.
everywhere. It's weird.
Hey, they work a lot better in sandbags.
Yeah, dude, it was fucking
Until they
miserable.
topple over.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny. I remember we went out one night. I wasn't big on going out because I just hated everybody and everything in that whole fucking space. But I remember one night we went out to the club out there, and some of my dudes are
Club.
less
El Club.
Selective.
Yeah, they're more open than me. So they were partaking of the local experiences.
I know what that means.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting drunk at the bar, like, fuck everything and everybody. But anyway, they had some pretty good experiences, the French Foreign Legion out there, because I guess they still had a base there. They just changed bases or something like that.
Yep.
But I didn't know until like decades later that camp had actually been turned into like a pretty big camp with like Burger Kings and all this shit on it, like a pretty big
It turned
fucking
into a
camp
full
now.
calf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Or
guess so,
J-Bed.
man. But it was definitely not like that at the time, dude.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like fucking literally chicken wire and a bunch of fucking
Well,
Yeah, we were there in 03.
chickens running around.
We were there in
Considering
03,
€3
it was
for a
still
meal for the
shithole.
FFL, I can imagine, it's coming in hot with the global military-industrial complex from the U.S. Army or U.S. military in general.
No, dude, you're out there with tents and cots, and those guys are pretty minimal. They did like they turned it into like a quasi-presence, quasi-training facility out in Djibouti. It was like a rotation. You'd get a certain tab if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
went out there and got your
really?
nuts kicked in for 3 or 4 months, because it used to be a permanent duty station, and it was a shit hot duty station for guys in the FFL because it was quadruple pay.
Oh,
No
shit.
And it was permanent. So you were
Ah.
there permanently. And so it
banking.
was actually coveted. Yeah, it was actually kind of coveted.
It's also got
And-
like a 75% AIDS rate there.
Yeah.
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 Pretty bad.
That's why...
Classic.
Dude, a lot of this is kind of harrowing back to the movie Lord of War. Like,
Oh,
it
dude,
just
it's
kind
such
of
a
like
great movie.
reminded me of it. And he's like snorting gunpowder and like taking a shot of fucking Lord knows what.
Yeah, those guys.
And then like dodging AIDS. And he's like, no.
Yeah. That's
Dude,
like
some-
fucked up.
Dude, some of our dudes were out in town like banging hookers, but
Raw
not even,
dogging it.
Over
not
my
even banging
dead body.
hookers. They're like dating hookers out there. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you get sick eating the fucking shawarma and you're out there banging
the shawarma.
Bro,
They're really eating the shawarma.
Yeah.
This is why...
I was like, yes, you're really rolling the dice there, buddy.
Oh.
They're Russian roulette with your dick, dude.
I don't want
Yeah,
to turn
yeah.
out like Freddie Mercury.
Well, dude, it's like that's it's crazy when you think about just operators in general, guys who live on that risk management, dude.
Mhm.
Dudes are just like, will push the pace until something happens, man. It's
Yeah.
it's edgy, dude, and it's like, and we know that doesn't usually work out so well.
Yeah, it's weird though, man. Like it did. Everybody in our platoon, like it did work out. Well, until we got kicked out of Thailand, but that was a separate.
Was that same rotation?
No, it was the next deployment.
Damn, dude, your platoon
But
was
it was-
getting
it was
after
mainly
it.
the
You're
same
batting
dudes,
1,000 with your
right?
fucking
Your
deployments,
platoon was
bro.
getting after it, bro.
Yeah, we had probably 65% of the same dudes go from that platoon to the next one because we're all new guys together. So most of us did 3 platoons together, and so we had a lot of like the same experiences.
Yeah.
It was I didn't realize at the time, but I guess that was kind of rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have this Bravo platoon text thread with a bunch of the same dudes. I mean, there's not everybody's in it, but most of the same dudes are in it, and it's just funny to see like these accomplishments and these dudes are going on. They're graduating, they're doing different things, and varying levels of projects. Some of it's academic, some of it's they're getting out and they're doing stuff in the civilian world. Some of it's retirements. But dude, it's wild to see all these these stories that you don't really appreciate. At least I didn't appreciate at the time how weird they are, how different they are, how unique they are. I just thought when you're in it, it's like, oh, this is what you're doing. You
I
know,
didn't
and everybody
either
has the same
until I was
experience.
ostracized from getting out of the military and coming back to San Diego with like civilian friends.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because now and one of like my biggest like fears and something that happened quite a bit in the past was being prefaced like, hey guys, Nick's gonna come over, and like he's a little brash, he's a little forward, he's entirely too honest, like all these things. I'm like, I thought those are good attributes to have, but like the world doesn't think the same way that we do.
Yeah.
And in these past experiences, it's like, cool, and at first, being naive and being new to the civilian world again, I'm trying to figure out how to assimilate. And then as I got older in the past 11 years since I've been out, I'm like, I don't need to assimilate,
Mhm.
but I need to learn how to communicate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So as long as I can communicate with
Mhm.
people from different backgrounds, like I don't need to turn into one of you. right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why I am the way that
You
I fucking
can't.
am. I can't. It's
Dude,
impossible.
it's impossible, bro.
Fuck no.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
No,
man.
toothpaste doesn't go back in the tube.
Yeah, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been like probably the craziest mental transition that I've had of we are over here and I tried to get over here, even though like it's not this, it's me coming over here. And then I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah.
And so now I just try to find a straight line.
Well, I think that's a very normal
parallel.
transition, though. When you get
Good
out of the
point.
military, I know you and I have talked about this, where you just want to be arm's length. Like I didn't talk to team guys for years when I got out. I was like,
I
fuck these
refused to tell anyone
motherfuckers.
I was in the military for at
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
4 or 5 years.
But I think that's
Yeah.
very normal. Everybody goes through it, and it wasn't until, and this is kind of the impetus for the we got the podcast too. Is like I was telling these stories to people, and I just thought like, oh, they're kind of funny stories, whatever. I didn't realize how crazy they are until you see people's faces, and they're like, wait, what? And
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, I guess when I say it out loud, that does sound kind of
Yeah.
weird. Huh? I guess it is
Sounds
kind of
extreme.
wild.
Yeah, extreme.
Yeah, but it's nice to like we said, everything looks different as an older man as you progress and you get different
I've
different
definitely come into
perspective.
my age recently.
Yeah, and dude, I think that's it's a powerful moment when you realize like you can view yourself objectively, you can view yourself honestly, you can view your weaknesses, your strengths. And I think that's a moment and most guys experience it around 40 where you start to realize. I think like 20s are kind of frantic, you're
Yeah.
all over the place. 30s you're like, okay, I'm kind of thinking what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm still got a lot of like I
30s
fail
like
a
your
lot.
20s,
Yeah.
you just have more money.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
40s, I think you start to know what works. You start to figure it out. You start to move the chess pieces around the board. You can be a little more strategic. Like
Yeah.
you got more positioning power.
I think
And
the grudges too.
the
Like,
grudges.
dude, like when I got out of the teams, like I was, like I mean, I retired, and I look back on the shit now, and I'm like, fuck, man, I wouldn't change my career path for a lot of shit, but I look back on some of the shit, how like, I mean, dude, I was an E6 for 11 fucking years.
How
and
you
I-
handled things.
Yeah, and like how, like, I mean, a lot of it was my own doing,
Right.
but how senior enlisted reacted to shit, and like again, going back to those like senior E8s and E9s, going like kind of forgetting where they came from, and
Yeah.
you'd hear guys talk about being arrested when they're fucking, in the teams and run away from cops and cutting handcuffs off with bolt cutters, and then in the same breath chewing your fucking ass out
Right.
for being drunk on liberty,
Right.
and you're like, bro,
Being hypocrites.
I didn't even
yeah.
get fucking arrested or beat anybody his ass. I was literally just having fucking some drinks, like
Yeah.
shit like that. And you're
Yeah.
like, and going back to that, I mean, I retired, I was 39, and I
Mhm.
think my entire 40s, and it kind of the same break. Like when I punched out of the teams, I'm like, fuck, man, I don't want to be a GS. I don't want to be a
Yeah.
contractor with the teams. I briefly taught shooting to like some EOD guys, but I was like,
Mhm.
I got out of the teams for a reason. Like,
Yeah.
I want to,
Yeah, exactly.
I was
Yeah.
doing the film industry shit, and I was just like, but it was, I think clawing back into my 50s now, it's like, okay, I can.
Yeah, same. It's nice to come back in the orbit
Full
again.
circle,
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
It's
Ryan
really
and I were
cool.
talking about that earlier where, I mean, we all get out, like, fucking fired up. And we're like,
Yeah.
dude, fuck no, this shit's going to be easy as shit. Like, you all
Yeah.
motherfuckers don't know dick until,
Then you get out and you're like,
You-
oh wow, I'm a
yeah,
bad guy again.
until you got to pay a mortgage, you're starting a business, like, you got all these extra bills, like, there's no supplement,
Yeah.
there's no fallback, there's no anything. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, this is the hardest
What do
shit
you
I've
mean
ever
I got to
Yeah.
pay for these stitches?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not free. Yeah.
And
But that's-
10 grand
And
for
this dental
stitches.
work.
Yeah.
But
What do you mean I
that's-
got to pay for this dental work?
But that's a perfect segue too, because I don't know how much time we got left on the
We're good.
batteries.
We're good.
So I want to make sure that we have enough time to talk about like what you're doing now,
Yeah.
because you've lived so much shit, but also I think there's so much cool shit that you're doing now,
Yeah.
and I personally just want to hear about like because we talked briefly about it a couple months ago, but you're progressing so fast in that. Like
I
what
will
do things
say
look
you're
like
the
now?
only motivator that I see on Instagram that I don't skip.
Yeah,
someone,
thanks, man.
someone wants
That
to
actually
give
means
me,
a lot. No, I really appreciate that because a guy like you, it's tough to. It cannot hit. It's got to hit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers can. Guys like you or guys who've been through some shit Bro, they sense inauthenticity fucking immediately. So
Mhm.
you can't fucking be
They
fake.
do, and it's
Yeah.
a tit for tat, right? And I've had quite a few people after we first met, after the Industry Threadworks photo
Yep.
shoot, and be like, yo, you follow this guy? Like, who is he? Like, I don't know if he's a fucking douchebag or if he's legit or whatever. And I was like, oh, no, dude, that guy's fucking right as rain. Like,
Thanks, man. That means a lot. to me,
Legit.
honestly.
but like, literally, like, dude, you have fucking lived enough lifetimes. Like, I don't know why O'Neill's writing a book when you could.
Yeah.
And I articulate this, and I'm like, don't, right? And they're like, oh, the gold teeth and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's a
fits,
story.
bro.
It's a
Yeah.
fucking story, and it's a story that
Yeah.
you don't fucking have. So how about like you tone your shit down
Yeah.
and take it for what it's worth? Because I have, quite a few people that want to give these motivational speeches, and they're, and I swipe.
Yeah,
that
But
haven't
like
lived
yours are
through
the only
anything.
ones that I listen to that make me feel shitty about myself, and I'm like, all right, fuck this, dude, let's go.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, it was because I've been to the dark time, right? And
A
I
lot.
think that's like, dude, I had a lot of dark time, and people that haven't had the dark, getting out of the military and shit when that's your thing, man. It's like, what the fuck, and going into that pace, and I think a lot of military guys experience it. I know everyone at this table has, when you're like, well, I guess what's the next thing that I can achieve that's gonna move the meter at all, right? It's like, that's a fucking tough thing to understand. And so
Yeah.
me talking, it's kind of like me using it as a diary, as live. I'm learning as I'm kind of going about it, and it was scary. I had the opportunity to transition out of the military twice, which actually gave me some strategic moves to do it right the second time, and hold myself accountable, man.
What
Because
what did prompt you out of the Legion?
I got kicked out of France.
All right, story time.
It's because I was in the hospital. I was like, you know what? I got time. I'm gonna do some. Start open up my social media. I wanted to tell my story. I was suicidal in my car, and now I'm having good days every day in the Foreign Legion, which is fucking hard, And I'm like, dude, I feel good every fucking day, like for the most part, man.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but man, and it was just some small things. Wake up early, be mindful, move, think better, subtract shit that I know is not good for me. Small shit. And so, but it was really impactful on my life, and I was like, I'm gonna tell the story, and I started doing it, just kind of posting pictures, just kind of having fun with it again. And dude, I'd be talking on my story. I was talking to like my mom and like my aunt for like 7 months, dude, on social media. Because, but I didn't have like a real end goal with it. And I'd have some Ukrainians, are you some vlogger now, giving me shit.
Of course, yeah.
Of course, but they all got it. I was just kind of having fun, telling some lessons learned, but I started to get some emails, man, like, hey, dude, I was gonna kill myself, bro, and I really appreciate you writing that. I was like gun in my fucking hand, and
I've had
Wow.
those.
and hundreds of
Yeah.
emails,
Yeah,
like
that
not a
shit
small
changes
amount.
you.
Yes, not a small amount, and I'm like, thanks, dude. And so it had enough traction to where I saw that it might be my story wasn't really mine, and then I just wanted to tell it a little
That's a
bit.
good way to put it, yeah.
And my story wasn't mine, and I don't think it's like something. I think honestly, I have a humble way to look, because there's so many guys that have done so much more in the military and done this and that. And I have a fucking lot, and we know a lot of them, and I have a lot of respect for that. So I don't try to beat my chest or say some shit I haven't done, or fucking. I try to talk, and the philosophical approach to life is interesting to me. That's what I like.
It
I like
is.
thinking. That's what I like, dude. I like reading philosophy. It's what interests me. So I like talking about it, and it's like, dude, if there's the only game is trying to get better.
Yeah, progress.
The only game is trying to get better. The minute we stop doing that, dude, especially guys like us, we fucking start dying. We start getting immediately going down that bad path, dude,
Yeah.
of like pleasure seeking, distraction, fucking. It's so easy.
You can't tread water, man. You're either moving forward or you're going backwards.
We can't.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
We're sharks, dude. We
Mhm.
got to keep moving forward
Yeah.
in whatever capacity, and those demons start talking to you, and that is something that I like to talk about. So yeah, I really appreciate that, because it's like the real ones get it.
Mhm.
The real ones get it, man. And I was like, dude, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be authentic, not inauthentic, but authentic as fuck
Yeah.
about it. So then nobody can call me out on some shit.
Yeah.
But it happened in France, so I posted some shit, and it was fine until it blew up. And then I had 1 million views on a video and some long forms on my YouTube, and they're like, and I was actually with Bowman of all people.
That
and he
shit's
was,
frowned upon.
Yeah, but it's fine until it gets too big. And that was
Yeah,
and so
okay.
they're like NCIS called me and it's like enlève tout cette merde, take all that shit down, because I was in my uniform. And you can go back on my YouTube at the very bottom.
right
I'm
on.
in my barracks talking, and
Also, how'd you feel about wearing the gayest uniforms ever?
yeah, dude, which
You
one?
looked like the Peanut Man.
Which one?
Well, I'm just talking like the tall white hats.
Oh,
like,
dude!
looks like you
the
needed a
French,
cane.
those French uniforms are fucking. I didn't mind the green beret in the woodlands, the green berets in the
Giant.
woodlands, but those
The
old
white
French
hat.
uniforms are weird, dude.
And it's like going from like beards and like multicam and like fucking helmet or baseball cap to like this like Peanut Man like circus conductor, and like must have been like, yeah.
Bro, it was a pain in the. But I only had to wear that like 4 times in my whole.
Oh, that's
career.
good.
Thank
That's
God.
cool. All right,
so
checks out.
most of it was woodlands and a beret. That was almost every day.
Yeah.
So that was it wasn't too bad, but the ironing was terrible, and they
What,
loved it.
do they crack down on fucking haircut, shaves?
Oh,
and
dude, they're like the
tattoos
Marine
and-
Corps. Tattoos? No, you can have your face tattooed and
No
your head
shit.
blasted. No tattoo regs. You just can't have a swastika on your forehead, right? That's like that's all they have.
Not on the
really.
forehead.
That's
other
frowned
places.
upon in France.
But dude, you have guys from Russian gulags with their faces blasted,
shit.
but don't fucking have your hair cut out of place.
Wow.
Oh,
that's
fuck, dude.
like so that was one of the reasons why I went there is because I
Wow.
knew they wouldn't give me shit for my tattoos because I had a lot more to do. But they called me to take it down. I said no because the iron was hot, and so I was pretty much denying an order from the general. I got a lawyer. I fought it as much as I could. They're like, we're going to put you in jail until we have to kick you out if you don't take it down. And I was like, well, that ain't happening. They went through my fucking room, smashed everything, ransacked, locked
No
all my
shit.
shit up.
God
I
damn.
happened to have my laptop and my fucking
You knew this was
passport.
coming though.
Kind of. Yeah.
You outweighed the cost benefit analysis.
But I was away from it. Thank God I was away from the base when this was happening. And it
Sounds like a theme of you've always had a good read of when trouble's coming.
Yeah,
there.
I'm like, I was just kind of guided, and so I fought it for a couple months, and then the lawyer's like, "Look, you have you're not a fucking citizen. You have
Yeah.
no legal standing."
That's what I thought you would have thought about before.
Yeah, well, I did, but then I was trying to finish it up. I had 6 months left. I just wanted to complete my
Yeah,
contract, but not at the expense of taking. It just wasn't. I wasn't going to do it, and so I said no, and I left. And that was irreconcilable differences. They broke my contract, and so technically, I'm not really allowed back in France.
Fuck 'em.
Fuck 'em.
I
Fuck
missed the
France.
Riviera. Cons was. Con was great, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So then that did you? What brought you to what you're doing now? Was it like an intentional path, or was you already going down
Well,
this path? and
I
just
saw guys
happened?
coaching,
Yeah.
and and I was like, dude, I could do it better than these motherfuckers.
Mhm.
I can, and I know I could.
We have
And-
the background for it.
Yeah,
for
I was
sure,
like,
yeah.
I felt like I had done enough to where, but also how to get right when you haven't felt good,
Mhm.
and that clarity. If
That's
I
the
could,
most important part.
yeah, that was like really what I could. I was like,
Yeah.
I can pull people out of a bad spot.
You've been the lowest of the lows.
Yeah.
I've been shotgun in the
Shotgun riding shotgun.
shotgun riding shotgun. Straight up, Kevin. That's a really fuck, dude. That's gangster. I like that. Dude, that's what's up, dude. And that was, I've been there, and that's a lot of the guys who I meet. They're like, dude, I'm in a bad way. CEOs, business owners, doctors, guys who are like, dude, I just, what am I supposed to do with my fucking hands? I don't feel good. I feel things closing in. I'm like, all right, well, let's simplify shit. And so that's kind of what I do, man, one-on-one with guys. And the content and stuff is just me, keeping things live, keeping my own process, keeping engaged. And I just don't miss, but I went real structured with it, like every fucking day, same times as Zooms, all the stuff. And I just keep it very, very disciplined with it.
Routine.
Yeah, I just keep it very routine based as much as possible. And speaking and stuff, I just spoke up in Pennsylvania at a company, Cool Hollow Solutions, great company. But it's interesting that it's shocking. You'll have guys sell a company for $50 million and be like, dude, I just am lost. And we don't think about it, but they're
Do
just
some
like
cocaine, bro.
us. No, but that's the problem.
That's the worst problem.
But they're just
That's
like
the worst
us.
option.
They're just like us. What's the next accomplishment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
he's like, dude, the
Now,
biggest thing.
now you're starting from ground.
Have you
ground
heard
zero.
of boofing?
Yeah, what do you do next? And so that's the next piece is first identify the who, because we have a baseline of discipline in the military that we take for granted. The getting up early, the
Yeah.
this, the that we take for granted, and being able to push yourself in different psychologically and
Mhm.
physically that other people just don't have. And so tapping into that a little bit of that deliberate mindset is really It's a deliberate approach to life, resetting it and just being fucking strategic again about your own day, not just about business.
Mhm.
Like if the business isn't there, what the fuck are you gonna do? Start drinking at noon every fucking day.
Yeah.
Like that lasts for a couple months, and then things start to spiral.
And then you're finding yourself in a worse situation.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening, guys. At levels of the money's taken care of. Now what?
Right.
What's
Yeah.
the next thing? And usually
What's
it's
the purpose? What's
it's a
the mission?
self-actualization and then a transcending of self. You got to do something to fucking help others. I don't mean necessarily, in charity, but in some way start getting other people involved.
Some level of impact. Yeah.
Some level impact. That's a really
Yeah.
good word.
Yeah,
Impact. What's the next level you're going to have?
Impact and
Impact.
network, I think, are the two things that can help drive anybody to a level of success.
Oh, 1,000%.
Every
Yeah.
man,
1,000%.
needs a mission, and I think especially dudes coming out of the military where you're so mission oriented.
That's good. Every man needs a mission. That's
yeah,
good.
but you don't. But you have to find your own mission because you're
Yeah.
always given your own. You're always given your mission in the
Right.
military.
Yeah.
Right?
But when you get out, that's a big navigation piece.
Now
It's
you're
like,
back
what
in
the-
the E10.
Damn, that's
and
a
you
ro-
have you have to
Yeah.
you got to navigate. You got to find your own mission. You got to create it. And like, what does that entail? Like, what brings you happiness? What brings you joy? What brings you fulfillment?
But the problem with that, right, and something that I've learned firsthand is I think this is my mission until I realize it's not.
Yeah.
Because I'm pissing in the fucking wind.
Mhm.
Like I'm guessing, and I'm like, nope, this isn't it. And then I go
Yeah.
back down, and then I start up again.
But that's totally
And then I'm like,
normal,
all right,
man.
this is my mission now. And like guys like us, we dedicate everything to the fucking mission.
Yeah.
And we do, and we end up finding out like, no, this is not a good idea because
Yeah.
we don't have an echo chamber or we don't even have critics to tell us what our mission can be.
Yeah.
Right? Because people are so red on the outside, and when you come out, you don't want to read anybody in either because
Yeah.
you don't want them to see the faults in your decisions or, piss poor decision making process. And so we're just going to do it. And so it's like
Well,
try until it sticks.
I try
And the
to
guys
be,
that fucking don't have one that sticks, do this.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
try
that's
to
a
be
really
as
good point.
open as possible at all the shit that I've fucked up because number one, it's useful lessons for other people, but number two, that's how we all learn. Like everybody fucks up. People might see me as this, quote unquote successful guy, but 99% of things I try don't fucking work, dude.
Mm.
I have
Yeah.
a ton of
But that
fucking
1%.
terrible ideas,
Yeah.
but I just keep fucking trying.
Yeah.
And like you said, reassessing, like I go a million different directions.
Made
and
that
then-
mistake, not doing it again.
yeah,
Next.
yeah. And then,
Yeah.
okay, this one thing works. Now let's do more of this
Mhm.
and then more of this and more of this. But it's a process, dude. And I think people get down on themselves because they think they're supposed to have an answer and they think they're supposed to, I thought this and I'm going this direction. And they're not okay with changing their own fucking mind.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that's part of the process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you got to be flexible.
yeah, you
Yeah.
should be.
You
Yeah.
have to be flexible.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, dude, just doing the shit that sometimes shit just stops working. Sometimes shit changes. I mean, dude, I've been working
Yeah.
in the film industry since like 2008. I mean, more full time since 2013 when I retired. But then, I mean, I'm living high on the hog. I feel like I'm doing some successful shit. I've been on some shows. I'm writing. I'm going to school. Got a degree in cinematography. I'm doing all these fucking things, and then boom,
Writer
COVID.
strike.
Well, COVID,
Yeah.
And then writer strike.
and then writer strike. Right
Yeah.
out, 2 years of just, and I'm like,
Stalemate.
and I'm like, fuck, and I have to like figure out, okay, what the fuck do I want to do? I'm like falling back on doing like EP work and security work and stuff like that.
Which is
and-
always a good safe fallback for us.
Yeah.
yeah, which is great. But I mean, there's times when literally I'll be at my fucking house and it's like I got a bar in my fucking backyard, dude. I have a paradise built that
Yeah.
I've built in my backyard, and I have great
It's
neighbors
pretty
that
dope.
come
yeah.
and hang out and shit. And there's times that I get that mindset. I'm like, fuck, man, I don't have shit to do tomorrow. I'm getting fucked up.
Yeah.
And dude, that shit one day goes into 3 days, goes
Yeah.
into 3 weeks, and
Yeah.
and I got the fucking wife that's going,
yeah.
What the fuck's
what
wrong
the
with you?
fuck, dude? Like,
I have
goddamn.
It
lived
happens
that.
quick too.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
have lived that
mission,
firsthand.
So having that, first of all, that flexibility and that ability to change and ability to see something new because I mean, dude, I could have just sat on my ass. Oh, there's a strike.
My-
So mine was a
know.
byproduct, right? Because like with the catalyst that you were talking about going on, like then mine turns into drugs, right? Then I'm fucking calling in drugs, and then I'm like doing this, and I'm like, yeah, all right, like what are we doing? And like doesn't get you anywhere, and then you get the grays as soon as it's done because you just doped all the dopamine and endorphins,
Yeah.
and so now you have nothing telling you that everything's okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even matter if you come up with like the appropriate decision, you still feel like shit about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you're smart enough and like woke enough to like have the realization like you just did this to yourself. And so then it's just even more pessimism.
Yeah.
And like just compounded on top of it. And the only thing that even pulled me out of, I guess, all of that rut was psychedelics.
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily need to get in that topic, but like it was the ego death that I think that we all need. And I know that a lot of guys from the community have had that ego death, whether it be psilocybin, ayahuasca, ibogaine, 5-MeO, whatever it may be. Like you need that ego death in order just to like literally it's like a dog shit in the carpet. And it's like,
Yeah.
you realize
Yeah.
this shit?
Fucking
Yeah,
stick your
phooey.
fucking nose in it.
Phooey, bitch.
Yeah.
And then you come up and you're like, oh, I don't like have my poop
Yeah.
like rubbed in
Yeah.
my face.
I
And
think
then you're
that's-
like, okay, now I'm back on the right track.
But I think if more people realize that nobody has it together, we're all just kind of fucking winging
Yeah.
it, they'd feel more okay with realizing that that's just part of the fucking process, dude. My wife's got a great quote on this where she says, "Be stubborn about your goals, but flexible about your methods."
Yeah.
And I found that to be so fucking true.
It's
Like,
true.
We're going this fucking direction. Sometimes we go 5%, 15% this way, back the other way. It's never a fucking straight line, but we're always going this fucking direction.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I had a great officer in the teams, dude. I won't say his name because he's still active, but he's gonna go way to the top. Thank God, knowing that good guys are going in. He would always fucking say they'd be going, AAR. So he goes, "Don't fall in love with your own fucking plan."
Mhm.
I love that.
That is such a
Yep.
good.
It's such a good way.
That's
would
a
always,
good officer quote.
Don't fucking fall in love with your own plan. He
Mhm.
goes, including me, right? And that I think about that still. Don't fall in love with your own plan, and because what you think you want might not be what you really fucking want.
Yeah.
Which is often the case, we
Oh,
want
dude,
shit that
for real.
don't pan out. Thank God.
Dude,
Yeah.
sometimes the greatest gifts are unanswered prayers, dude.
Straight up.
I'm so glad I didn't get what I really wanted so many times, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
For real.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's two different aspects to look at it. So like the military side is like the military decision making process, right? It's like, all right, what's the enemy's most likely course of action, like Okoa, and then what's the most likely course of action, right? And you have a plan A, a PACE plan, primary, alternate, contingent, emergency,
Mhm.
for your said plan. In the event that this goes wrong, then what's my alternate, my contingent? In the civilian world, it's just called A/B testing. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I got two great ideas,
Yeah.
and I'm going to put them out there, and I'm going to do everything in order to make sure that Plan A and Plan B succeed. In the event that Plan A doesn't, then now I still have like
Yeah.
a
Latitude.
range, a latitude of how to make sure that this can still be successful. Because you might just shit the bed on fucking Plan A, but that doesn't mean that Plan B is not going to work.
Yeah.
And so essentially you got to go into one plan with 10 plans,
Yeah.
right? And it's Murphy's law, I mean, it's just always trying to combat Murphy's
Yeah.
law and
It's
trying
And
to
then
figure out.
Plan C, you're like, all right, fuck.
Yeah,
okay.
but then Plan C chokes out.
Man, it's all about that plan D.
No, Plan B smoothies, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also too, I wanted to get into like, because we're talking about perspective changes, man. Like you're a new dad,
Mhm.
like new
Oh,
family.
great
yeah.
question.
Like
Yeah.
how is that perspective?
You don't know where
shifted your
babies
life?
come from?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? She's like,
You got laid?
I'm pregnant. I'm like, what the how the hell? Dude, it wasn't something I planned, which I'm actually grateful for because, there's some difficulties and I'm like, I asked for this,
Yeah.
It's
Unanswered
healthy,
prayers.
yeah, healthy,
Exactly.
amazing. It all kind of came together synergistically. But honestly, man, people go, oh, was it some crazy perspective shift or motivation shift? No. I really felt like I was pretty locked on and it was like I was so focused on like making this next phase work and be successful and live in purpose that she just kind of
You just
assimilated
fit,
in,
huh?
dude. And like
Yeah.
I didn't have some like, oh, I got to really work harder and lock it on because I kind of felt pretty fucking locked on. So I didn't
Yeah.
really change much. So that was when I knew it was the right time. I was like, 39 having a kid, bro. I'm like, I had a good run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like,
No,
I had a good run.
I've
That's
noticed
where
that so
I'm
many
at right
times.
now,
Yeah.
right? Because my wife is on me, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Because my life is consistently perpetuated, given my career,
Yeah.
consistently perpetuated by doing dope shit with dope
Yeah.
people like around the country
Yeah.
or the world.
Yeah.
Right. So like my life is always a fucking party.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yo,
Yeah.
like this shit's got to quit." And I'm like, "All right, I'm fucking done. Like
Yeah.
I get it." But now I'm in fucking Orlando and I'm playing golf in Trump's course and I'm fucking
Yeah.
doing this and now I'm fucking 10 beers deep and it's like, and like I feel like shitty about it, but also like there's no side effects.
Yeah.
Like there's no negatives because as soon as I go up to the hotel room, I'm like waterboarding myself.
Yeah.
And like waking up at 5 a.m. for the next like shoot and showing up with batteries charged, cameras cleared, and like ready to go. And so like I don't have anything like faulted on, right?
Yeah.
But I'll be 38 next week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, time's up, right? Like I'm not chasing the dragon anymore. Like I honestly feel that. And I'm ready for a child. But my lifestyle does not fucking illustrate that I'm ready for a child. And so that's something that, what you just said, I'm kind of like taking heart. I'm like I feel like I'm there, but what I do for a living is not helping out the situation.
Yeah. It's also like I travel for work. I'm gone a couple weeks a month, for stuff. And it's like, you just got to have a good lockdown when you're here. You're
And
here.
you're doing push-ups in your fucking hotel
Yep.
room at 4 a.m.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
to, bro. That's how I keep the demons stop talking to me.
I need to do that.
But you'll have it will be right when it's right. And, she'll be engaged in that and you'll have the new kind of a shift when it will it's seamless, man. Guys like guys like us, you'll figure it out, and it will make sense. I don't think you'll have this issue there'll be a lot of friction.
And I know I won't, but that's also hard to articulate to your spouse,
Yeah.
right? Because and I personally know firsthand, like there is not a chance in hell that I could be hungover and deal with an infant,
Yeah.
right? So,
you'd be surprised.
Yeah. Well, and also, dude, you adapt.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
the beauty. Guys, like
Yeah.
you'll adapt. You'll do what makes sense. You'll be like, well, I kind of like to feel better when I'm dealing with an infant, so you'll just make sure that happens.
Right.
That's why it's like
Right.
it's a no-brainer. I wouldn't try to like game it because
But like
you'll do
I
it.
feel like they're asking for like, hey, I want picture perfect before we do this,
No.
and then just like you're saying, like you adapt, and it's like, trust me,
Dude,
I
it's
promise this is gonna
flexibility,
check
bro.
out.
Yeah.
It's so much flexibility. I know this for a fact. I mean, my first kids were twin boys.
Yeah,
And, dude, it's like, oh, God damn, I don't have the fucking energy for this. I'm like, wow, they sleep a lot.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I got mom and I got grandma and they're taking care of the kids and you're
Having
like,
a good girl,
oh,
dude,
like,
man, it's a
oh,
game changer
man,
too. If
yeah.
I was doing it by myself, it'd be
dude.
fucking impossible.
Oh, yeah.
Having a chick that she's just like, oh, they get it, man. They're like plugged in and
Yeah.
sounds bad, but she's gonna handle a lot of that. You're obviously gonna handle.
Kids
what
got
you
to
gotta do.
breastfeed for the first
Yeah, you're gonna be
7 years of their life.
Yeah, 7. Still breastfeeding. Dude, it's great in coffee, man. It tastes like cantaloupe juice.
Actually, I've had a White Russian made out of titty milk one time.
Yeah, dude.
I was at Matt Bailey's bachelor party, and we were all huddled around the bar, and this is up in Julian. And,
Oh,
and I'm like next to my buddy's wife, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, hey, can you make a White Russian? She's like, no, we don't have any milk. And meanwhile, I look over, and my buddy's wife is like breastfeeding under the blanket. And she's like, you want some milk? I didn't offer this, by the way. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And like, I'm 5 tits to the wind. And she's like, all right. And literally pulls out the drink. She's like, make the drink. I'll add the milk. Pulls it out and just squeezes her titty into this fucking glass.
It's packed with
And
HGH,
fills it
man.
up. And it literally just looks like I almost wanted like a frothy little flower, kind of like dialed in on the top.
you're like, you get any cinnamon in that titty?
And so I just like mix it up, and it was a perfect White Russian. And then I just feel like strong like Hulk.
Dude,
Strong
it's
like a
HGH
bull.
in it, bro. Dude,
Yeah.
people order it online.
Dude,
Really?
it's fucking
Bodybuilders and
crazy.
stuff. They'll
No
order it to
shit.
their house. Yeah.
Breast milk.
Yeah.
shit.
We,
Now you're talking
for
into it.
for our baby now, she's making breast milk popsicles. Because she's teething, she just gives her breast milk popsicles. My little baby's like grabs it, fucking just
Dude, that's
houses it.
genius.
Yeah, I
Breast
hear the
milk popsicle?
Cambodian breast milk is the most Oh,
Shit's exotic, dude. Shit's imported breast
I
milk.
was hoping you were
her
going somewhere
Chappelle
with
show?
this.
I need some Cambodian breast milk.
Yeah, dude. It's been a good trip, dude. All this stuff, it's really happened really well. Business has been good this last, year and a half. It's just rock and rolling. It's picking up,
So what are you doing exactly?
So I do one-on-one coaching, mindset, fitness, lifestyle. That's kind of the catch-all term, but it's really a lot of it's questions at first. Like, not everybody needs the same shit. Some people need more fitness. Some people's daily habits are dog shit, mindset, just self-talk. It's a lot of stuff. So it's a lot of kind of reverse engineering psychology with people. And I get a lot out of it. And some people need more fitness. Some people need, to be kind of pushed a little bit.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that's online, macronutrients, some of it's diet, some of it's, mindset, some of it's habits.
Foreman
I'm like,
routines.
dude, you're doing coke every day. You should probably stop.
Yeah.
Shit's going to clear up. And it does. It does.
Weird.
You gotta wake up before fucking noon every day, motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's all that shit. And then
Get a routine.
And then speaking. So, and I want to finish the book. So that's kind of what I've been working on.
That's gonna be
Maybe
cool,
do a
man.
book to series adapt. We got some people kind of interested. So
if you need any help with that, I know some people in the publishing world.
That'd be
that
cool,
would
man.
Absolutely love to
Yeah.
write it. If you need a co-writer, I also know another amazing woman. Just wrote Tyler Gray's book. Co-wrote Tyler.
Oh,
Gray's
sick,
book.
dude. Yeah, Lauren. I think
yeah,
I know.
Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren.
Yeah,
I've spoken with her before.
Yeah.
She's shit hot, dude. She's the real deal.
Yeah, she asked me. She's like, "Hey, when do you want to do a book?" And I'm
Wait,
like,
where is
"The
she?"
Fuck.
Turkey, I think, or something.
She's in Turkey.
Yeah, she's in Istanbul.
Oh, okay, different Lauren.
American
Yeah.
girl though.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
it was there's a Lauren in Austin.
No, well, maybe she's redheaded, like
Yeah.
sapphire blue eyes.
I haven't seen her. I've just talked to her.
Yeah,
earlier.
she's pretty high caliber.
She's stunning. Worked on a lot of people's books.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Does a lot of like the co-authoring. Like I feel like I can write, but I don't feel like I can knock out like a full-length book.
Oh, you need a
Yeah,
professional.
for
That's
sure.
what I've
Yeah.
learned. Is like
Yeah.
we're good at some stuff, but like sanding off the edges and making it like marketable is a
Yeah.
completely different game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But dude, you absolutely need to like
Sand
push
down the
forward with
edges.
your book.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep
excited
the
for that.
people talk the SEAL stuff. The SEAL stuff's gonna be 2 sentences by design.
I know.
Yeah.
I like
By
a
design.
chapter and then move.
Yeah,
on
like,
in.
hey, here's kind of what I did. Here's what I did. But it's going to be a lot of the Foreign Legion. And I think I'm going to focus on the people. Like, who the fuck are the guys that actually go
Yeah,
into this
absolutely.
shit? Like,
That's
the
gonna be super
characters.
cool.
Because there's some fucking characters, you know?
So that begs another question that I had is who did you, given that you were like one of the sole Americans, and not
Mhm.
only just an American, but a fucking SEAL, who did you kind of like assimilate with? Like
Yeah.
who was like your kind of like crew?
I was kind of solo, man. I kind of solo. I had a South Korean buddy, but I was, on the weekends, I went off and did my thing. Like, I found a good gym, had a girl there, and, so I just kind of, but, well, at work, there was some guys that would speak English, but I linked up with some of the Belarusian guys.
Mm.
Those guys were pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's some tough dudes, and we'd kind of sit in the room and kind of shoot the shit. But
Your
a lot of it
Hungarian-
was,
Your Hungarian friend.
yeah, my Hungarian friend. A lot of it was just shutting the fuck up and being quiet, which is for me that's a feat in itself. So it was a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
It was a lot of thinking, but
Well,
it was a worthy
Self-inflection.
Yeah, it was a good process of inner dialogue and
I'm excited to
Introspection.
hear that podcast with you and Jimmy that you guys are putting
yeah,
together.
that'd be cool.
That's gonna be fucking
Yeah, because we
wild,
did some
dude.
some
Who's
work
Jimmy?
after the team.
Jimmy Watson, another team guy with some crazy stories. He
nice.
was the main security guy for
John McAfee.
John McAfee.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no
introduced
way.
I introduced
Oh,
him
wow.
to John. I
Yeah.
introduced
That's
him
a
to
whole
John.
fucking weird
Yeah,
story.
John's,
in
Yeah.
itself.
John's
is.
nephew was a team guy.
No
and I
shit.
did 3 platoons with him.
No shit.
Yeah, and I run into John McAfee in the fucking Centurion Lounge in Vegas. And I got 2 chicks with me, and I'm in there on like January 6th, and he goes, "My Green Berets have been compromised." He's like, and I'm sitting there having a drink with him at like 9 a.m. in the Centurion Lounge, and that's how him and I met. And then it just by chance, I was like, "Hey, I'm in a platoon with your nephew." He's like, "What the fuck?" And that how.
No shit.
And then when I got out, his nephew called me and said, and this was years later. And
Wow.
then I introduced him to Jimmy.
So
That's
where's
crazy,
McAfee
man.
these days?
He's dead, bro.
He's dead. I think
well,
he's for real dead.
Maybe. Yeah.
For
I
real
think he's
dead?
for real dead. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's for real dead. He was just, he stacked those tax debts, bro.
Yeah, he was a wild.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
man.
watched the documentary on it, and I'm
Oh.
like, I'll be damned.
Yeah.
He's a wild dude. I mean, Jimmy's got some crazy stories. He had to save that dude's life like twice from drug overdoses and shit.
Dude, I can't.
Lots
When are you
of
guys?
stuff.
When are you guys coming out with that?
Dude, we start filming. We're gonna film 6 episodes in June,
Okay.
early June.
Okay. Sweet.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Are you flying out to Florida for
Yeah,
that?
we're
okay.
gonna go to
Cool.
Orlando.
Dude, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Just good to touch base with Jimmy too. He's got a great heart. That dude has got a pure soul, man. He's like done a lot. He was in invasion of Pakistan with the Marine Corps.
No
He was like
shit.
7th guy on the ground off
Wow.
the bird, and recon Marine and Blackwater for 4 years, and fucking then SEAL.
What's his last name again?
Jimmy Watson. Yeah, I didn't. I
he
didn't
got
talk
kicked
to him
out of
too
the
much.
teams because that another murder trial for Blackwater came up, and the fucking current admiral, which ended up getting kicked out because of this, was like, "Hey, we want him out. We don't want the bad publicity." And Jimmy was like, "Fuck that," and he took that shit all the way to the box.
Nice.
And but they put him in psych ward. He had to hang himself to stay in there. He goes, "Do you know?" He goes, "Man, you know what it's like hanging yourself when you don't want to die?" He goes, "It fucking sucks." Hurt his neck,
damn,
dude. Yeah,
dude.
it's wild.
Yeah, I saw his podcast on the Anti-Hero podcast.
Yeah.
and we chatted a little bit, but I never really heard his story.
Bro.
But his story on that podcast is fucking crazy.
He went through the ringer, bro,
Yeah.
and he got 3-4 murder trials, and he was the team lead on Raven 2-3 in Nazar Square.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the team lead.
Oh,
for that.
Nazar
shit.
Square.
Yeah, he was.
Oh,
and
okay.
so he made the call to go out the gate and all that shit, and
Wow.
yeah, it was he went through it because of that, and then went to the dark side after that, and drinking and this and that. And
Yeah.
he's like, then there was a gap between murder trials, and he's like, I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL. Became a Navy SEAL. He's in sniper school, and another one comes back up because the administration, and they're like, what the fuck is this guy doing with a top secret clearance in the fucking
No
teams?
shit.
Yeah, he's at SDV, and they're like,
Jesus
they
Christ,
called him. He has to
dude.
go in his dress blues from sniper school to go testify in front of fucking
Oh my
Congress.
God.
And they're like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Oh, dude, I'm excited for you guys to dive
Yeah.
into that, man. That's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be
a cool
fucking
story. I
cool.
love that guy to death, man.
Dude, that's awesome.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so it's been and it's a trip coming down here, bro. Just, seeing you, because we talked when I was in the Legion, like, hey, bro, I'm looking forward to getting back and, just syncing up. So I'm really
Yeah.
stoked to be here and be in it and getting connected back. Like, we all
Yeah.
kind of go on our out, and then we all kind of find our way connectivity because, dude, like minds, man. There's just not a lot
Yeah.
of people we can talk to on this level. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Sure.
just different, man.
That's what I like doing the podcast too. We just get together and because this is what I wanted to do anyway. Like, hey guys, get together and talk shit. It's
Yeah.
like, we got
Might as well film
families
it.
and everything. But yeah, it's nice when
Literally.
we can have an intentional conversation,
Yeah.
catch up on shit, and allow other people access to it too, to feel connected. Because I think the thing that most people don't understand is that we're all just normal. Like, we have these titles and shit. We're all normal people, and we all go through the same shit. We all
Yeah.
have the same insecurities, the same struggles, the same problems.
Yep.
But nobody fucking talks about it. So everybody thinks they're going through it alone.
True.
And they're really not. So I think it's really cool to be able to have these conversations. And there's some stuff that we don't publish or we edit
Yeah.
out. But
Yeah, and it's
but I
also
think it's dope.
it's also just you have to speak from a place of experience. Like, I'll have some, you always got the weird nerds. He got kicked out of SEAL teams in Legion. He's fucking, how's this guy? I go, yeah, that's why I can tell you what not to do, motherfucker.
I love how you went full Cartman on
Yeah,
that.
dude. I'm like, these
That's
motherfuckers.
exactly.
I'm
literally
like, of
what
course
makes me,
I
yeah.
could tell you what not to do because I fucking did it, right?
Yeah,
It's like you
exactly.
can't have a guy with a fucking tie.
Yeah.
He's like, you should make good decisions. I'm like, well, you
Yeah.
never made a bad one, motherfucker.
Right.
So how
Yeah.
the fuck would you know?
Yeah.
Like,
You're doing steroids.
Yeah.
Well, you should too,
Yeah, you-
motherfucker.
it is steroids. It's cheating. I'm like, cheating to who, motherfucker?
Yeah,
Who are we
exactly.
cheating?
It's
Who are you
so
cheating?
true. And I've even had quite a few people come across my Instagram and what the fuck are you doing on this podcast with a bunch of team dudes? Because I was never soft.
Yeah.
It's just in a specialty unit and had a bunch of cool schools. And then Blackwater and EP and all that stuff. But it's just dude, knowing the current climate of everything, you just got to be real.
Yeah.
The
authenticity, man.
second that you give ammunition to anybody, cowabunga, baby, dude,
There's
you're
a
out.
common ground too, though. There's
Yeah,
definitely.
and my entire military career was only working with NSW, and for whatever reason, that's just how it happened. So
Yeah.
I'm fucking read in on it in some capacity, and only now in the past, I'd probably say 7 years, am I fortunate enough to have friends like yourselves, and working for the C4 Foundation as the marketing director, working for ERT as the marketing director, working for all these other Navy SEAL nonprofits. Because that's my giving back,
Yeah.
and unfortunately a byproduct is I guess the Army's fucking too lazy to start their own.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking anyone that has an Army nonprofit, but I never had a nonprofit to support me,
Yeah.
And so if there is any level of giving back that I can do in any capacity, then I'd rather do it. But
Yeah.
also, as a byproduct of living down in IB, as a byproduct of being in San Diego, and as a byproduct of working with NSW, it's like I have more team friends than I do Army friends. Because
Well, and we're way
honestly,
cooler.
90% of them are dead, and the other 10% of them are fucking doing their own jam in fucking Oklahoma.
Yeah. And
So it
that's
is what
the
it
oth-
is.
That's the other piece that and which is perfect kind of a segue, kind of put a bow on all this is, what are you doing now?
Right.
Right? It's like, that's what's interesting about it. Dude, you don't rest on your laurels or hang it. Nobody gives a fuck what unit or this or that or
Right.
team. What the fuck are you doing now?
Yeah.
What can you do for me? That's
Yeah.
all anybody
Yeah.
really gives a
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
You
about,
don't want to
right?
be fucking Uncle Rico.
Yeah, it's
back
like
in the day.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
I
I
bet I'd
throw
throw
a
a
football
football over
over
them
those fucking
I throw a
Mexican
football
mountains.
toward Miles.
You know, throw a football. Man, you should have seen me on Friday nights. It doesn't matter, dude.
Doesn't
And so
matter.
that's why I like talking to people who are fucking forward pressing. Like, I'm like, Nick, what project? I see Nick all over the fucking earth with people, and I'm like, damn, dude. Like, I'm like, that's impressive. I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, really
Well, that's the
kinda moving
common
and grooving.
thing. Like, I want to be around people who are pushing forward and
Yeah.
not resting on their laurels and doing new shit and progressing and learning. And, dude, authenticity is a fucking currency, man.
Yeah.
And
It's the only currency that I honestly want to live by, and then
Mhm.
also being able to back it all up,
Yeah.
right? Like I've created a beautiful and perfect life with an amazing woman in an amazing house, with an amazing city, with amazing people and amazing friends, right? And this is a byproduct of this because I've had a lot of friends that I served with in the military that have asked me to move in and want me to float them
Yeah.
because and this is their quote, because I want what you have. And I'm like, if only you fucking knew the shit that I had to go through in order to fucking find this success.
Yeah.
Like the catalyst is my wife, but like not to mention all the wherewithal,
Yeah.
all the like, fuck this, I'm not gonna take this.
How
Like
many
I'm
shit
gonna pony
sandwiches
up,
did you have to take
And
a
the
bite
learning.
out of?
dude.
on
A
your
whole
own.
lot of fucking comes shit sandwiches.
Yeah.
And like and I'm over it, right? And like I sent myself to college. I actually graduated. All these guys are like fucking one credit away from graduating. But one of the biggest things too is like a lot of the guys in the military are fleeing where they came from.
Mm.
And then as soon as they get out, they go back to what's normal, which is what they've fled from.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
so now you're living in this fucking shithole echo chamber with an ego that does not match anyone on your playing field.
Yeah.
And so now you're working at fucking Buc-ee's or the bar or the coal mine, and it's like
Yeah.
that's not going to do anything for you. And I see it firsthand. And I see it every day. And like also like I'm too fucking old, dude. I'm 38. Like I don't want a roommate. And also like I can't help you.
Yeah.
And also like fuck you, dude. No one helped me.
Yeah.
No one is like, hey, come move in with me and I'll front load you and I'll
Yeah.
fucking take care of your bills.
Also, it's handicapping somebody. It's not
Yeah,
gonna
It
work.
Exactly.
is. It
Yeah,
absolutely
it's not helping
is.
anybody.
Like, dude, you need to hit rock bottom before you can
Yeah.
ever fucking
But
work your
Yeah,
ass
you
that's
have
out.
also
to.
that's also totally normal at that point in life. Like my 40s have been my 47 now, and my 40s have been
Damn,
my favorite
fucking
decade.
old.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no shit, my 40s have been my favorite decade by far, like by a long shot.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
much
everyone
more
tells
fun.
me.
You have
so
so much more control. Like
Yeah.
you can make fucking moves because you know you know your strengths and you know
Yeah.
your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And you're comfortable with
it's
your
no longer a
insecurities
guessing
more.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can make moves. from
Now
Now
it's
so
position-
much
calculated.
more water off your fucking water off a duck's
Yeah,
back, dude.
yeah,
Like,
totally.
Going through school in my 40s and seeing like 18 to 20-year-olds, like, you know, you have to fucking make a decision about what subject you're gonna write some fucking stupid fucking paper on.
Right.
And I have, we're in this forum and people are like, oh my God, I don't know what subject. I'm like, motherfucker, you're not winning the fucking Pulitzer. Just pick a fucking subject and start writing.
How to eat paste.
Honestly, yeah, seriously. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, honestly, just pick something and start writing
But
because
also, no one's
until
gonna
you
fucking
make
pay
the
you 100
decision
grand out the
and
gate.
start,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You got to
Exactly.
make your own path, man. But
Yeah.
it starts with that direction.
I mean, when I was working for Elon, I was making $46,000 a year. And then when I was fucking picking up drugs and hookers from private airports, I was making 46 grand a year.
Yeah.
It's San Diego.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
that didn't check out. You
Yeah.
know, like when I was in Army Recon, like I was working at Best Buy selling laptops at night.
yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
I
I
get-
love stories like that, dude.
Yeah, dude.
You know,
like
you gotta-
I've
you
always
gotta-
been a hustler.
Yeah, you got to do
Yeah.
that shit, bro.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You got to go through it.
Dude, I worked
Everybody
at a
goes
coffee
through it,
shop
yeah.
when I first got in the teams, dude. because I was fucking under investigation, lost all my special pays.
No shit.
Yeah. I'm
Damn.
like, well, fuck, man. I'm like making you
No
want
shit, dude. That's
extra
a fucking
extra
savage
fucking
story.
froth with that shit, motherfucker.
Damn, that's a savage story.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I was a bouncer brick by brick because I was trying to pay my fucking mortgage. She's my stripper chick. Anyway, don't buy
That's
a house with
weird.
a stripper.
Damn.
It's a whole other thing. Making $10 an hour, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Fuck.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you got to, when you're in that position,
Yeah.
when you're drowning, you take
Yeah.
fucking
Well,
anything you
most
can get.
coffee
man.
So we all
shops
have
are a
secondary
cash
jobs.
business. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I was at Blackwater, like I was taking LinkedIn courses on learning how to do graphic design, how to design shit, how to get into the field that I'm currently in.
yeah.
Because I understood like this is not a lifeline. Like I looked around at everybody that I was in contract with at GRS or fucking even Whips, and they were all going to Thailand, they were all going to Vietnam, spending all their money, fucking buying a bunch of blow and like doing all this shit. It's like, granted, I love all that, but that's not a success measurement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm sitting there on the computer, like teaching myself how to run these like collegiate programs.
Doing the work, man. Yeah.
And no one else is doing that. And the guys that aren't doing that are the guys that are currently asking me for fucking money or a
Yeah,
handout.
it shows, man.
And
can't
like,
make it
and then
work.
I have no pity.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, well, okay. And then in my head, because of prior knowledge, you have this ultimatum of like, okay, if I tell this dude to go fuck himself, he's probably going to be dead next week. Or if I help him, I'm going to have this perpetual fucking
Nah, fuck 'em,
cancer
dude.
tumor hanging on my
everybody
fucking
runs. Everybody's responsible for their own fucking decisions.
and I
dude.
agree.
I don't fucking give a
and I
shit
never
about that stuff
placated to
anymore,
any
man.
of it. I'm like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
I've had plenty of my friends kill themselves, and I miss them, but also I'm comfortable with it's their own fucking decision. We've all considered killing ourselves
Yeah.
at one point. It's I think that's also a normal part of the process, and it's just some people make a different choice, and I miss them, but I respect their fucking choice. I wish
Yeah.
they hadn't done that, but I'm not like.
yeah, I
you know,
agree.
I
like,
don't blame my fucking self for their decisions, and that's not fair of anybody else to,
Yeah.
to put that on anybody else.
I'll
either.
cheers to toast to you, but I'm not going to take any lessons, obviously.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we all make our own choices, man.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, you're right. It starts with the mission, starts with the
Yeah.
foundation, habits, choices, doing the work, and fucking
What's
walking
your
the walk, man.
What's your to plug website?
Yeah,
Instagram.
man. Anybody can get a hold of me on my website, taylorcavanaugh.com. All that, those contact forms go to right to me. I don't AI anything or do
You got to spell Cavanaugh.
by design. Taylor, Charlie, Alpha, Victor, Alpha, November, Alpha, Uniform Golf
there
Hotel.
we go.
Even if I try to do that,
Now in
it's a-
France.
Yeah,
French.
yeah, in French. It's fucking good luck, bro. And my
And
Instagram-
Taylor obviously is TAILO.
Yeah.
He's not a fucking Taylor.
Yeah. Just Google gold teeth seal legionnaire. You'll
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no
yeah, dude. And then my Instagram, TCavOfficial, DM me. I'll hit you back up. And my YouTube, Taylor Cavanaugh, where I just dive into deeper principles and no edits, no stops, everything one take by design.
I love it.
There you
man.
go.
Authenticity.
Yeah, and I take a lot from it. So
Thanks, man.
congrats.
No, I
dude.
really appreciate that, dude. It means a lot because, you know, fucking guys who just are at that edge, bro, they're either gonna love you or they're gonna hate you, man. So I'm like, well, if they're gonna hate me, they're gonna hate me. You know, it's gonna be really me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah.
way to avoid that is to do nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's true, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah,
Good to
thanks.
catch
This
up.
is a really
Love
cool
it.
time, man. Coming down here, coming back down to IB. I drove around the front, dude. I'm like, holy shit, man. There's a lot
A lot of
blowing up
history,
here.
dude.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we got to have you back again, man. I'm
Yeah,
excited for the
we're
next
gonna
thing for
we're
you.
gonna have a lot of synergy on stuff. We'll have projects and
Hands
shit,
down.
man. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Hands
it'll
down.
be fun.
Fuck
So-
yeah.
All right, folks.
All right.
Thanks, all.
Cheers.